Fairy Tale, Summoning the Great Tomb of Nazarick at the start. Chapter 31. This country needs to change. These people in front of them have been completely blinded by visible interests. Looking at the ministers who admonished him in front of him, Irene's brows furrowed deeply. If the kingdom of Dragonov was broken by its huge population, the original good economic system, then in the past 100 years, the kingdom of Lomaden has relied on the blood of the kingdom of Dragonov to have a huge wealth. Even relying on the cannibalization of nearly 100 years, he counter-controlled most of the top executives in the Dragonov kingdom. Now, most of the high-level leaders in the Dragonov kingdom, like the ministers who are now standing in front of Irene and admonishing Irene, already have intertwined interests. A giant baby. It's kind of ridiculous. Irene's face couldn't contain a look of disappointment. To this day, Irene has completely seen the true face of these high-level leaders of the Dragonov kingdom, and the holy dragon bear's Aryan has been in Irene's heart from beginning to end, without saying a word. For the affairs of human beings, Saint Dragon Bear's Aryan will never interfere arbitrarily. Before Irene could continue to say anything, there was a notification sound from outside the hall, and a man dressed as a guard walked in cautiously. Her Royal Highness Princess Irene. Prince of the Kingdom of Lomaden, His Highness Lofus begs. Okay. Almost there, I've waited long enough. Before the guard could finish speaking, a young man who was frivolous and flamboyantly dressed and looked a little over the top walked in carelessly. It seemed that he didn't take this meeting seriously at all. This is the Prince Rafus of the Kingdom of Lomaden. Lavers looked at Irene standing in a high position and said with a smile, Irene, I heard that you were fooled by that Heartfilia person before. I tell you, you must never believe what those guys say. This time, I'm going to give you the exact wedding date with Irene. Listening to Laver's words, Irene's expression was a little ugly at this time. Irene actually didn't feel anything about what Lavers said. Irene's ugly face was mainly because of the reason Lavers was able to come here. It is clear. The fact that Lofus was able to arrive here at this juncture is obviously the reason why someone here in the Dragonov kingdom tipped Lofus about it. It would take at least 3 days to get here from the kingdom of Lomaden. That is to say, as early as 3 days ago, or even earlier, the agreement between Irene and Linyan was stabbed in front of Lavers. Sorry, Lavers. Irene gave Lavers an ugly smile and said, we don't have to worry about our affairs for now. The minister is right, there are still many places on the Dragonov side that need the help of Lomaden. Especially in terms of food, the food produced by Dragonov himself was very insufficient many years ago, and he has always relied on the food supply of Lomaden. So his face was ugly, and he was very angry at Lofus's behavior of breaking in without waiting for the guard's announcement, but Irene still suppressed the anger in his heart. Irene. I think it's better to settle things as soon as possible. Lavers looked at Irene, whose face was a little ugly, the smile on his face remained unchanged, and said with a smile, if you continue to delay, Irene, I think my father and mother may be a little unhappy. You know, I'm just a prince now, and I have no right to speak. My father and mother are getting old, and it would not be good if our food aid from Lomaden to you Dragonov was delayed because of unhappiness. Did you say so? Irene. Are you threatening me? With the fall of Laver's voice, the smile on Irene's face that was still barely maintained completely disappeared, and there was a bit of coldness in the eyes looking at Lavers. No, I didn't do that. His Royal Highness Irene, I'm just explaining the facts to you. Looking at Irene, whose expression became a little cold, Lofus shook his head quickly and said in a panic, after all, we are just a small country in Lomaden. Definitely dare not threaten you, Your Highness Irene. The final decision on what to do depends on your attitude, Your Highness Irene. Even if Your Highness Irene doesn't want to marry me and wants to regret it, I have no opinion at all. However, correspondingly, Your Highness Irene, you can't let our Lomaden food be given to an unfamiliar person for no reason. The atmosphere gradually became a little dignified. Looking at Irene with a very ugly face, Lavers hurriedly winked at the surrounding ministers and asked them to hurry up and be a lobbyist for him. One thing Irene guessed right. Dragonov was indeed almost eaten up by Lomaden. After Lavers and Irene marry, there is not much difference between Dragonov and Lomaden. Chapter 32. In the early days, Lomaden may have been very sincere in seeking protection from Dragonov. But after nearly 100 years, Lomaden's side has already become incomparably swelled, relying on the blood of Dragonov to develop the economy recklessly, resulting in the current situation of bullying. I know Irene, you've been completely fooled by that guy. This time, the food that our kingdom of Lomaden supports to support the kingdom of Dragonov has already been shipped in. As the prince of the kingdom of Lomaden, Lofus is naturally not 100% stupid. He knows that he cannot persecute Irene again and again. Irene is actually the one who has the power. Only Irene is supported by St. Dragon Bears Arian. Why Irene, a little girl in her teens, will become the queen of the Dragonov kingdom in the near future, is it really because of Irene's excellence? It is undeniable that Irene is indeed very good. But becoming the leader of a country is not something that can be solved by pure excellence, mainly because Irene is the one who is favored by St. Dragon Bears Arian, not others. St. Long Bears Arian is not very in charge. However, in the same way, St. Dragon Bears Arian's thoughts cannot be easily changed by others. So after feeling that it was almost the same, Lofus's attitude relaxed a little bit, showing that as long as you are willing to take a step back, then everything is easy to say. In the original book, that's it, Lavers let Irene take a step back, and finally successfully married himself. Sadly, however, this time may be different. Whoosh! At the moment when Lofus's voice just fell, Lofus felt that a force majeure pressure suddenly came from his body from top to bottom. Bang! In the eyes of everyone's differences, Lofus, who was standing, knelt down directly. And the kneeling is not ordinary, everyone can clearly hear the sound of dense bones shattering from Laver's knees. The strength of this kneeling even caused the hard marble floor to faintly appear with dense cracks. Ah 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 ah! It hurts. In the blank eyes of everyone, Lofus, who was fine just now, knelt down on the ground with his lower body, not moving at all, while his upper body was frantically covering his knees and moaning constantly. They knew that Lofus was in pain, but what they didn't understand was what happened to Lofus. Could it be that Lord Shenglong was angry? The existence of St. Dragon Bears Arian is like a big mountain pressing on everyone's heart, so no one notices Lin Yan who just walked out of the space passage behind him. Although he didn't know what happened, Lin Yan could still hear Lofus's 2 words just now that he was speaking to himself, and he should be speaking ill of himself. So without any melancholy, Lin Yan directly taught Lavers to be a man with a note of extreme gravity. What's going on? How come I feel like someone is talking bad about me? Lin Yan ignored Lofus who was moaning not far away and started foaming at the mouth, but walked towards Irene's location and said, "Are you in trouble? As my acting leader of the country and my possessions, I can do you a little favor." As he spoke, Lin Yan just plucked out his ears, turned his head and said with a chuckle to Lofus who was wailing, "You are very noisy. If you keep shouting, you should die." As Lin Yan's voice fell, Laver's expression quickly became terrified, abruptly suppressed the constant pain from his knees, and became quiet abruptly. Lofus still has a very good life, but he can't just die here. Thinking of this, Lofus endured the severe pain, and looked at Lin Yan with the most vicious eyes in his life. I have already started thinking in my heart, how to solve Lin Yan's matter after this incident. By the way, even Irene Lavers began to hate it, and began to think about how to punish Irene after Irene got it in the future. At this time, the others around them did not dare to breathe. Even if the IQ is slightly normal, even a little bit knows that the current situation is very wrong. It was as if he hadn't seen anything from beginning to end. No big deal. Just a little trouble, what are you doing here with me? Irene shook her head, not ready to say anything more. She is not a woman who wants to cry when she is wronged. Maybe sometimes she wants to cry, but so far, except for St. Dragon Bears Arian, no one has ever made Irene feel safe. Chapter 33. And, one more thing. No matter what happens in the future, at least now Delagunov and Heartfilia are 2 different countries. And she, Irene, is valued by the Holy Dragon Bells Arian. The future queen of the country of Dragunov, as the future queen of the kingdom of Dragunov, Irene can't show her timidity in front of other countries. If you don't, forget it. I'm here to fulfill the agreement between us before. Lin Yan didn't care too much about Irene's attitude. He chuckled and said, "In about half an hour, the Red Dragon King will come to the border of our Heartfilia. Want to witness the following process of becoming my property? If I find it troublesome, I can also use projection magic to project the image of the scene." For Irene, Lin Yan is very satisfied. This kind of satisfaction is naturally not in the sense of men and women. Lin Yan is very satisfied with Irene's ability. If Irene helps to manage, then many things can become very simple. For Irene's evaluation, Lin Yan is higher than Anna. Although Anna is also very good, she is still a little less interesting than Irene. King of the Red Dragon. Is there already a Dragon King who is going to attack Heartfilia? Many ministers not far away began to whisper after hearing Lin Yan's words. Because Lin Yan's appearance is very high profile, no one has any doubts about what Lin Yan said. Just a stable space magic is enough to shock the world. Space, time, and life are the three supreme attributes of the world. Is there half an hour left? Irene ignored the whispering minister, just smiled at Lin Yan and said, "That's my honor. Let me see for myself how Heartfilia faced the Dragon King." Although Irene knew very well how terrifying the power of the king in the dragon family fell to the ground, but Irene vaguely felt that Lin Yan was not the kind of person who likes to do meaningless things. So, after a brief thought, Irene agreed to Lin Yan's invitation very decisively, and was going to watch with Lin Yan, the end of the King of Dragons. "Your Highness Irene, please think twice." The moment Irene agreed to Lin Yan's request, a minister immediately stood up. After all, Irene is the future queen of the Delaganov kingdom. If something goes wrong with Irene in the Heartfilia kingdom, there will definitely be a lot of turmoil in the Delaganov kingdom. "Don't think twice, I know what I'm doing. Some things must be witnessed by me." Irene shook her head and declined the minister's request. Lin Yan gave two options, one is to hide here to watch the projection, the other is to go to the scene to see it in person. It seems that it has nothing to do with it, but there may be a lot of images after docking. I don't know why, Irene just feels that just being a Dragon King can't destroy the kingdom of Heartfilia. So, now Irene is already preparing to fulfill the promise. Irene felt that if she went to the scene to see for herself, then after Heartfilia Kingdom successfully blocked the Red Dragon King and Dragonov Kingdom merged into Heartfilia Kingdom. You should have more say. After speaking, Irene no longer paid attention to the advice of the ministers, and took the lead directly to the space passage, to the other side of the space passage, the border of the Kingdom of Heartfilia. The Great Tomb of Nazarick initially estimated the place where the Red Dragon King would first descend. From the very beginning, every move of the Red Dragon King has been under the observation of the Great Tomb of Nazarick. And after Irene left, Lin Yan didn't say anything more, just said casually, "Wait a while, there will be a video of our Heartfilia fighting the Red Dragon King here. According to the agreement, once our Heartfilia resists the Red Dragon King successfully, you Dragonov will become my personal property. Of course, if you're willing to come and see in person, maybe I'll treat you a little bit later." After getting close to the people present, Lin Yan immediately returned to the space passage. Albedo and Shaltiyi didn't say much, and followed Lin Yan and left. The space channel continued to remain in place, giving everyone a little time to choose. After 3 minutes, the space channel would disappear on its own. Until the space channel disappeared, not even a minister stood up. I have to say that the kingdom of Lomaden is actually quite successful, a huge kingdom of Dragonov, and the abrupt kingdom of Lomaden has corroded into what it is now in less than 100 years. Quite sad. As for the prince Lavers, he could not bear the huge pain and passed out. Lin Yan didn't care much about this clown-like thing. I'll ask who this guy is talking ill of himself behind his back, and what's the use? If there is no special effect, then send him directly to the sky. Chapter 34. The border of the Kingdom of Heartfilia. A space passage suddenly appeared on the 50-meter-high city wall on the border, and then a heroic girl with long crimson hair walked out of the space passage. Is this the place where the Red Dragon King will attack next? After walking out of the space passage, Irene was stunned when she saw the nearly 50-meter-high city wall she stepped on, and then she asked curiously, "Could this city wall be your support for facing the Dragon King?" Irene narrowed her eyes slightly. Through the introduction of the Holy Dragon Belzarian in the body, Irene until this seemingly ordinary city wall is depicted with dense defensive magic circles. In terms of sturdiness, defense, and gorgeousness, it is indeed the strongest city wall Irene has ever seen. Of course this is impossible. The main function of the city wall is to give us a sense of security for the citizens of the Kingdom of Heartfilia. Lin Yan, who came out right behind Irene, just explained with a chuckle. The reason why people built such a high city wall in the first place was purely because of some of Lin Yan's personal bad tastes, and then the high city wall can give people a sense of attention and security. It doesn't do much by itself. After all, this is a magical world, and no matter how strong the city walls are, the effect is not high. Is that so? We Delaganov don't have the money to build such a magnificent wall. After hearing Lin Yan's words, Irene was subconsciously stunned, slapped her mouth, and vaguely felt a little dry. Dragunov's economy has collapsed for not 50 or 30 years, and it has been a long time since he spent money to build the country's gradually old and dilapidated city walls. Looking at Heartfilia with such a wealth of funds, Irene instinctively envied. It is because of economic problems that the kingdom of Dragunov was eroded by a mere Lomaden. If it weren't for this, as the world's most powerful country, the people of the kingdom of Lomaden wouldn't even dare to put a fart in front of Irene, the future queen. Not to mention that, like Nerifus, relying on the abundance of food in his hand, he can alleviate the momentary emergency of the Dragunov kingdom and threaten Irene. However, if you don't plan to rely on this city wall, what is your Heartfilia kingdom relying on to feel that you can compete with the kings of the Dragon clan? After being surprised, Irene glanced around the empty space, and just said the doubts in her heart, and said, I don't seem to see any preparations from you. Not even a single soldier. Boom. Without waiting for Irene's voice to fall, Irene just felt the city wall shaking under her feet, and what followed was an unbearable scorching heat wave. A huge body appeared within Irene's line of sight, half as bright red as magma, and a body larger than a normal dragon. There is no doubt that in front of him is the legendary king of dragons, the king of red dragons, Flamears. What an interesting idea. Do you think you can protect yourself by building a city wall about the same height as our dragon race? The king of red dragons, Flamears, looked at the city wall that looked a bit ridiculous. He just sneered, put his eyes on the only 4 people on the city wall, and said lightly, although I don't know about the other 5 dragons. Does the disappearance have anything to do with this country? But Feng Long did die here. Let your humble group of ants know today that something is absolutely inviolable. After finishing speaking, the king of red dragons, Flamears, didn't bother to look at the expressions and reactions of Lin Yan and others, and the magic power on his body started to boil. In the long years, most of the dragons will have some chattering attributes, and yet, the king of the red dragon, is no exception. It's just that, talking about people, this does not mean that the red dragon king will get along with human beings. In the eyes of the red dragon king, human beings have only one identity from beginning to end. That is a fairly special ants and toys. However, soon, the brows of the red dragon king Flamears were slightly wrinkled, and his eyes were set on Irene. From Irene, it felt the breath of the holy dragon Belzarian. The dragon family is very sensitive to the breath of the same family, so even if the red dragon king didn't pay attention to Irene from the beginning, the holy dragon Belzarian in Irene still attracted the attention of the red dragon king. Belzarian! What are you doing here while you're not in your toy yard? The king of red dragons, Flamears, looked at Irene, or Belzarian, the holy dragon hidden in Irene's body, and said indifferently, you don't think that this is your own toy field? If you really think so, even if you are a little older than me, I will not give you face. No, don't get me wrong. It's just that this child is my favorite toy, so I just came over to see the situation. In the face of the question from the red dragon king Flamears, the holy dragon Belzarian didn't dare to pretend to be dead in a hurry, and quickly said to the red dragon king Flamears, you don't need to care about me. Chapter 35. The attitude of the holy dragon Belzarian is very humble. However, there is no way to do this. The red dragon king Flamears is not too young. In front of the red dragon king Flamears, sacred dragon Belzarian's old qualifications can't be displayed. Is that so? Then let your baby toy look aside. If you accidentally break your baby toy, don't come to me and cry. After hearing the explanation of the holy dragon Belzarian, the king of red dragons, Flamears, sneered, but after all, he agreed to the request of the holy dragon Belzarian. Don't hurt it, sacred dragon Belzarian's toy, Irene. Irene is also very cooperative here, very obediently walked to the other side, and kept a distance from Lin Yan and others, but I really don't know why. Although Irene did feel an extremely terrifying aura from Flamears, the king of the red dragon, vaguely, Irene had a terrifying thought. Compared to the aura I sensed from Albedo and Shaltir last time, this terrifying aura was far worse. It wasn't just Irene who felt this way, in fact even the holy dragon Belzarian himself was vaguely affected by this terrifying delusion, as if the red dragon king Flamears was inferior to Albedo and Shaltir. Is this feeling, falling to the ground, an illusion, or... In the distance, Irene quietly looked at Lin Yan, Albedo and Shaltir, who were as small as ants standing in front of the red dragon king Flamears. After Irene got away, Lin Yan, Albedo and Shaltir also got the attention of the Red Dragon King Fu La Myers. After all, the performance of Lin Yan and the others was really special. At this time, normal people would have panicked even if they didn't run. Lin Yan's performance was indeed unique, so the king of the Red Dragon Fu La Myers also raised a little interest. You three seem to be very calm. Looking at Lin Yan standing at the front, the Red Dragon King said thoughtfully, "Is it possible that you are an insider and know the truth about the disappearance of the old man's family? If you explain honestly, the old man may be able to spare your life." As expected of the King of the Red Dragon, he directly guessed one. If there is any hobby of the King of Red Dragons, Fu La Myers, it is probably to let those ants who think they have hope completely fall into despair. In fact, the Red Dragon King Fu La Myers is not particularly interested in the fact that one of the same family was killed and 5 of his family members disappeared in the kingdom of Heartfilia. Really? As long as you tell me honestly, are you willing to spare my life? After Lin Yan heard the words of the King of Red Dragons, Fu La Myers, he didn't show anything special, he just asked with a nervous look, "I'm willing to explain." "Not bad. As long as you explain it honestly and satisfy me, then I can live." The Red Dragon King looked at Lin Yan's panicked appearance and nodded very satisfied, and said, "Let's talk." "Okay, then I'll say it. I think it's probably dead, and the only thing left is these few things." Lin Yan smiled and took out the dragon crystals collected from the Dragon of the Earth and the Salon from the system space. "This is the existence that gathers the magic power of the dragon family. I randomly gave 2 dragon crystals to Demiurge and Aizen Saoshik to study, and the rest was always put on by Lin Yan." "Ants. Do you really know what you are doing?" The Red Dragon King looked at the few dragon crystals in Lin Yan's hands and was stunned for a moment, and then an unprecedented anger suddenly rose from the depths of the Red Dragon King's heart. Does the King of Red Dragons, Fu La Myers, care about the lives of his fellow clansmen? However, this does not mean that the King of Red Dragons, Fu La Myers, is willing to watch Lin Yan desecrate the corpses of his own kind in front of him. As the essence of the dragon crystal is also the symbol of the dragon's corpse. Lin Yan plays with the dragon crystal in his hand, which is naturally no different from Lin Yan's slaughter of the dragon's corpse. Boom! The Red Dragon King Fu La Myers was thoroughly infuriated by Lin Yan's actions. The magic power, which is far larger and purer than that of the Plop dragon family, began to burn and boil continuously, and the sky that was still sunny even turned gloomy at this moment. The ground beneath his feet began to crack rapidly, and the 50-meter-high city wall began to shake violently. The countless magic circles carved on the city wall are of no avail. The strength of the Red Dragon King Flamears is placed here, and it is definitely not an existence that local magicians can compete with. Even if the Red Dragon King didn't even start, there was already a sign that the city wall was about to collapse on its own. In fact, it was indeed the case. Lin Yan felt a faint sense of threat coming from the body of the Red Dragon King Fu La Myers, and his eyes narrowed slightly. The Dragon King level dragon is not at the same level as the ordinary dragons that Lin Yan faced before. But so what? Give me. Kneel down. Lin Yan said indifferently to the King of Red Dragons, Fu La Myers. Chapter 36. I don't know the ants that are high in the sky. This old man will let you know what is real. What? Before the Red Dragon King Fu La Myers finished speaking, the Red Dragon King Fu La Myers just felt that his body began to tilt slightly uncontrollably. He began to slightly lower his head in the direction where Lin Yan was, and the 2 front feet that were originally standing straight on the ground were also slightly bent. It seems that if you really want to listen to Lin Yan, you have to kneel down to Lin Yan. Damn, what happened? Why is the old man's body not under the control of the old man? A hint of imperceptible fear began to flash in the eyes of the Red Dragon King Fu La Myers. Hundreds of years have passed since he was born, and this is the first time that the King of Red Dragons, Furlamirs, feels that things are out of his control. Not bad. Can you defy my ruling spell slightly? Lin Yan was a little surprised when he saw the King of Red Dragons, Fu La Myers, who was still able to resist a little, then turned to look at Albedo behind him, and asked, "What is its level?" "Lord Lin Yan." After hearing Lin Yan's question, Albedo said respectfully, "According to the comprehensive data shown just now, the level is probably a full purple character in LV 95-96. If the level difference is within 5 levels, the ruling spell may not have the effect of absolute control. Domination spell. It was originally a skill of Demiurge, but it was recently exchanged by Lin Yan to be handsome. The specific effect can be considered as the utterance of the inferior version. Characters who are 5 levels or more lower than Lin Yan will be suppressed by Lin Yan's ruling spell, and the specific suppression effect will be comprehensively calculated according to the difference in equipment attributes. The equipment on Lin Yan's body is not very good. Lin Yan randomly picked a few legendary equipment from the library in the Great Tomb of Nazarick, and the level gap between the Red Dragon King Fu La Myers and Lin Yan is within 5 levels. Inside. This is the case now. Is the level difference within 5 levels? Then there is no other way but to make the level difference greater than 5. After Lin Yan heard Albedo's words, she said with a smile, "It's just the cost of raising a few levels, I still don't care." After finishing speaking, Lin Yan is directly 1 million reputation points at the first level, and directly spends 10 million reputation points to make his level reach LV level. Boom! With the improvement of Lin Yan's level, the effect of the ruling spell can be fully reflected. With a loud noise, the Red Dragon King Fu La Myers completely lost his ability to resist in front of Lin Yan, and knelt directly in front of Lin Yan, his huge head slamming on the ground. No matter how desperately the Red Dragon King Fu La Myers burned his magic power, he couldn't bridge the gap of more than 10 levels with Lin Yan. "You don't even look at it. They all knelt with your Lord Dragon King. Give it to me, kneel down." Lin Yan looked at the frantically struggling King of Red Dragons, Fu La Myers, and chuckled lightly, and then set his eyes on the 100 ordinary giant dragons not far away. Boom 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 boom. In this way, an unprecedented spectacular scene appeared in front of everyone. There were 101 giant dragons, kneeling neatly in front of Lin Yan. No matter how hard they struggled, no matter how much magic power erupted, there was no way to make their body move even a shred. For a moment, the roar of the dragons, either frightened or angry, resounded through the sky. "What's going on? Belzarian, what the hell just happened?" Looking at the scene in front of her, Irene was also horrified. "Although I have thought about many possibilities, it is not that I have not thought that the kingdom of Heartfilia controlled by Lin Yan really has some mysterious power that can compete with the Dragon King. However, this one-sided scene, Irene really never thought about it. The Dragon Clan, which has always been equated with the word invincible, would be so vulnerable in front of the man in front of him. And, if the scene in front of you is real, then..." Irene looked at the 2 girls who had been standing quietly on Lin Yan, Albedo and Shaltir. "If it's true, does it mean that the dangerous aura I sensed from these 2 girls that day was also true?" Belzarian said that their breath may not be weaker than that of the Dragon King. Shaking her head hastily, Irene hurriedly threw this terrible thought away. "I don't even know what happened. However, I can vaguely feel that there is a strong binding force on my clan, and this binding force prevents them from making any unnecessary actions. Actually, this binding force is not much different from immobilizing magic." The Holy Dragon Belzarian didn't know how much Irene thought about in this short period of time. After hearing Irene's question, he said with a look of horror, "It's just that I have never seen the immobilization magic that can bind the Dragon King. Even if the Dragon King uses immobilization magic, it's actually difficult to immobilize an elite class of a weaker class. At most, let's settle on ordinary dragons." Chapter 37. There is one last sentence that the Holy Dragon Belzarian did not dare to say. If the Dragon King can be fixed, then the gap between Lin Yan's strength and the Dragon King may be at least the gap between the Dragon King and the ordinary dragon family. The Dragon King is already so powerful and terrifying, what kind of existence is Lin Yan who can fix the Dragon King? Just thinking about it, the Holy Dragon Belzarian has a feeling of suffocation. "Yes, this looks very comfortable. I think what you said is quite reasonable, ants really need to look like ants." Lin Yan snapped his fingers, took out a chair from the system space and sat down slowly, crossed his legs and looked at the group of dragons kneeling in his line of sight, and said with a smile, "Now, tell me, who is the ant?" "Damn bastard! Old man, I must kill you." After hearing Lin Yan's words, the Red Dragon King Fu La Myers began to roar frantically again. Originally, there was still some fear in the heart of the Red Dragon King Fu La Myers. After all, what Lin Yan showed was too terrifying, but now the fear of the Red Dragon King Fu La Myers was suppressed by anger. Regardless of the fact that Lin Yan had no resistance at all, he started to become incompetent and furious. So spirited. Yeah, ruling spells are really cool to use, but they don't hurt. Lin Yan looked at Fu La Myers, the king of red dragons who was kneeling in front of him and roaring frantically at him, and smiled again, and said, "Then let's change magic." Having said that, Lin Yan is the end. MSKDP7 snapped his fingers and applied an extra magic to the body of the Red Dragon King Fu La Myers, the super magic limit gravity that Lin Yan often uses. Boom! Accompanied by a huge earthquake that made people grind their teeth and the sound of dense bones shattering, the huge pressure directly crushed the entire king of the Red Dragon Fu La Myers to the ground. Roar! The king of Red Dragons, Fu La Myers, let out an extremely shrill scream. The threat of death further stimulated the potential of the Red Dragon King Fu La Myers, and burst into a stronger power, but compared with Lin Yan, this power is too insignificant. This is the humbleness and insignificance that the King of Red Dragons, Fu La Myers, has never felt. Reluctantly raised his head, the Red Dragon King Fu La Myers looked at Lin Yan's location. For some reason, the Red Dragon King Fu La Myers seemed to see a demon exuding monstrous coercion. Vaguely, the King of the Red Dragon, Fu La Myers, could even smell the smoke of gunpowder coming from Lin Yan. Just this natural aura made Fu La Myers feel extremely powerless. Is it really still that ant, that human? Click! There was another series of dense sounds of shattering bones, and the King of Red Dragons, Fu La Myers, was completely silent. Dragon, the king of the Dragon clan is dead. Not far away, after seeing that the King of Red Dragons, Fu La Myers, did not make a sound anymore, Irene stammered and said, "The legendary King of Dragons, did he really die like this?" Although Lin Yan has shown a very terrifying strength, the strong impression of the dragon family is definitely quite ingrained for Irene. So, even if the King of Red Dragons, Fu La Myers, was actually run over by Lin Yan in an instant, Irene still couldn't believe it. The aura of the Red Dragon King has indeed disappeared. If there is no accident, it is indeed dead. Compared to Irene's disbelief, Sacred Dragon Belzarian is much calmer. He was already mentally prepared when he saw Lin Yan's youth suppressing the Dragon King just now. After all, being able to immobilize the Dragon King with a magic similar to the immobilization type, it is not an understatement to kill the Dragon King all the time. However, the Holy Dragon Belzarian began to worry a little. If there is a terrifying existence like Lin Yan in humans, what existence in the dragon family can compete with Lin Yan? Although the Red Dragon King Furlamirs is not the most powerful one among the Dragon Kings, even the strongest Dragon King is actually like that. At least, it is impossible for the strongest Dragon King to live in the same Dragon King as Fu La Myers. Thinking of this, the Holy Dragon Belzarian sighed silently in his heart. At this time, even it didn't know what to do next. It's really a pity to kill the remaining dragons like this. Lin Yan doesn't care about Irene and Belzarian's mood at this time. Looking at the 100 ordinary dragons on the other side, who were suppressed by their own ruling spells and kneeling on the ground, they thought for a moment, and then turned their heads to Albedo who was standing behind and instructed, "Put the blue die on the ground." Yusuk calls over and asks Aizen Soyajuk to use Kyoka Suizuki. Let these dragons be completely loyal to our kingdom of Heart Philia. Chapter 38. At present, although Lin Yan has 2 silver-level forces, there is a very embarrassing situation. That is, the high-end combat power of LV88-100 is sufficient, the low-end combat power of LV1-75 is sufficient, but the backbone combat power of LV76-87 is very scarce. Therefore, Lin Yan decided to let Aizen Sosuke come over and use Kyoka Suizuki to collect the 100 mid-level combat power in his own camp, so that many things would not be so tense. For example, you can let go of your hands to expand, and it will be much more convenient to take over the kingdom of Dragunov. Originally, Lin Yan's high-end combat power was almost used to guard the kingdom of Heart Philia. Now, you can separate some of the high-end combat power and the dragon to guard Dragunov. Okay, Mr. Lin Yan. I'm going to get Aizen Soyusuk to come over. After hearing Lin Yan's words, Albedo nodded. Without any reason, she just used the teleportation channel to find Sousuk Aizen, who had been experimenting in the laboratory all day. Sometimes Lin Yan also wonders, will Aizen Soyusuk be able to research the collapsed jade by himself one day? The reason for this speculation is entirely because Lin Yan found that with the passage of time, the original price that Lin Yan wanted to let Aizen Soyusuk unlock the collapsed jade state decreased from 500 million reputation points to more than 499.99 million reputation points. The rate of reduction is a bit low, but if you really want to spend time, Aizen Soyusuk can indeed go to the collapsed jade mode for free without consuming reputation points. However, with time, Lin Yan estimates that his interest will be more than 500 million a day. Thinking of this, Lin Yan shook his head slightly, stood up from the chair and stretched, then walked slowly towards where Irene was. How about it? This bet should be counted as my winning. Lin Yan walked in front of Irene, smiled when he saw Irene, and said, I succeeded in protecting my country in front of the Red Dragon King Fula Myers. Next, including you, the Dragunov Kingdom is my property. Lin Yan began to wonder how long it would take for her RP to officially reach 10 digits. Because Lin Yan rarely does things in person, the speed of Lin Yan's reputation growth is actually very slow. Most of the people only contributed a little reputation to Lin Yan, a few people contributed 10 reputation points and very few gave Lin Yan 100 reputation points at one time. Therefore, Lin Yan has gained a total of 200 to 300 million prestige so far. The reason for this is entirely because Lin Yan is too salty. After all, it is indeed a bit troublesome to show up and gain a lot of reputation. If it is said that the magic era is 400 years later, it is not bad. In that magic era, magic similar to live broadcast has appeared, and even magic similar to computer network has appeared. At that time, Lin Yan did a wave of things, and then the world broadcast it, and the reputation was not too cool. Unfortunately, 400 years ago, the development of magic was not comprehensive, and there was almost no magic for daily use. The lifelong dream of all human magicians was to defeat the dragons. The great magic of good and evil, nirvana, and some other magics with very terrifying effects in the original plot were all born in this humble age when humans were ants. Only when the dragon race is completely destroyed, as in the original book, will the magic of the human side gradually bloom, and no longer blindly pursue the effect of attack and kill. In general, because of Lin Yan's salted fish, I am afraid that even if the kingdom of Dragunov is taken over, it will be enough to collect about 1 billion reputation in a short period of time. In this regard, Lin Yan does not intend to change his state of salted fish. The gap between each level can be said to be a natural difference, and the silver level is enough to deal with the two strongest boss Ziref and Aknologia in the original book. The gold level forces want to deal with the god who has existed in rumors from beginning to end. Lin Yan thinks it should not be a problem. If the so-called god can't handle even the gold level forces, then it's really too much. Nature. As long as you are a qualified leader. As long as you can bring happiness to everyone. After hearing Lin Yan's words, Irene didn't hesitate and said with a smile, whether it's me or Dragunov, it can be your private property. As long as Lin Yan can do what he promised, then Irene doesn't mind whether she or the kingdom of Dragunov becomes Lin Yan's private property. In Lin Yan, Irene saw hope. A human race can completely get rid of the expectation of the dragon race. Very good. As long as you think you can run a country well. Lin Yan looked at Irene's serious expression, nodded slightly, and said with a smile, then you are still the princess of the Dragunov kingdom, managing the country instead of me. How to do it at that time, I will send someone to come to your side to assist you. Next, give me a little massage, can you massage? Well. It will be a little bit. Irene was stunned for a moment, but there was nothing to be hypocritical. Just under Shalter's smiling eyes, she walked behind Lin Yan and started massaging Lin Yan. Chapter 39. Just when Lin Yan was immersed in this gentle and leisurely village, the death of the Red Dragon King Fula Myers shocked the world directly. The first to be shocked were the ministers in the Dragunov kingdom who watched the entire projection. Am I not mistaken? So terrifying, the dragon that symbolizes terror, actually knelt in front of that guy. The minister who first persuaded Irene looked at the projection in front of him with an expression of disbelief on his face, and said, the one who died is the legendary Dragon King. Doesn't even the king of the dragon family have any resistance in front of that guy? It was obvious that it had already happened, but the minister was still in disbelief. This kind of thing is very incredible no matter where it is placed. Are you sure it's not hallucination magic? The king of the dragon family is the existence that Lord Belzarian, the holy dragon, needs to look up to. How could it be possible to die like this? The other minister was also in disbelief. As the minister of Dragunov, the pro-dragon kingdom, he still has some understanding of some hierarchies within the dragon family. The death of the Red Dragon King Fula Myers is absolutely tantamount to the death of those leaders in the country. And, being politically sensitive, he has already started to sweat. The king of the dragon clan died in the human kingdom. No matter how you look at it, it looks like something bad happened. If one is not good, it may directly set off a full-scale war between humans and dragons. Do human beings have the power to resist in the face of dragons? Anyway, apart from seeing it today, most of the human wizards will not have any resistance when facing the giant dragon, and the very small part only has the power to escape. Such as time magic and space magic. Can this thing be fake? Hehe, next, Dragonov's day will change. He didn't say much all the time. The minister who looked a little younger sneered beside him, glanced at the low-madden Prince Rayfus who was still in a coma, and said, "The new king, I'm afraid it's not so easy to talk. Now, if everyone wants to stand in line, hurry up." As the voice of this not-so-old minister fell, the originally noisy hall suddenly became unusually quiet. At this time, everyone also recalled. Yup. It's already reached this point, what are you still thinking about? The new king is an existence that can kill even the king of the dragon clan. With such an existence, what are you worried about? For a while, all the ministers present began to think about the next thing, how to lick the new king Lin Yan, and even many ministers were already beating their chests frantically in their hearts. If only I had the courage to follow Lin Yan and Irene through the space tunnel to watch the live broadcast. If it really follows the past, I am afraid that Daypen will really take off, 90,000 miles a day. As for the prince of the kingdom of Lomadden who was touted by all the stars just now? I'm sorry, now this prince is already a dead man in everyone's eyes, and it's time to see whether the new king should care about what happened just now. In other words, to see the existence of the forced palace, Irene, should you care about what happened just now? At this time, under the healing of the healing magic, Prince Lofus, who had a comminuted fracture in his lower body, could be considered to have regained consciousness from the coma. Hey, it hurts. As soon as he woke up, Prince Lofus took a cold breath and almost fainted again. Fortunately, Prince Lofus, who had already fainted once, was somewhat resistant to this, so he did not faint again. Damn it! When I go back, I must tell my father to stop the food aid to your Dragonov kingdom. Prince Lavers first carefully glanced around and found that Lin Yan was gone. His face quickly showed anger, and said to the surrounding ministers, "I will also bring back this batch of aid. You Kingdom of Dragonov must give me an explanation." After speaking, Prince Lavers just slowly closed his eyes, and the corners of his mouth turned up slightly. It's not like this kind of thing hasn't happened before, although it's not in the eyes of today's comminuted fracture, but it can be regarded as a small grievance. Usually, Prince Lavers only needs to talk about food aid a little bit, and the ministers around him immediately crowd around him like panicked puppies and lick him frantically. In this way, after about 3 to 4 seconds, Prince Rayfus, who felt that the surroundings were too quiet, reopened his eyes. Some people looked around strangely and also looked at their ministers with very strange eyes. What's wrong? Why are you looking at me like that? Didn't you hear what I just said? I say. What do you want to say? Before Prince Lavers could finish his words, a familiar voice suddenly froze Prince Lavers' body. Chapter 40. Prince Lavers turned around stiffly and slowly, looking behind him. I don't know when, Lin Yan and Irene have returned through the space channel. It is very unfortunate that all the words that Prince Lavers said just now have been heard by Lin Yan, and Irene's brows are also deeply wrinkled. This is not the first time that Prince Rayfus has threatened her with food aid to threaten the kingdom of Dragonov. Even Irene has become extremely impatient with Prince Rayfus. If it weren't for various factors, Irene actually wanted to teach Prince Rayfus an unforgettable lesson and let them know what kind of existence the kingdom of Dragonov was. Although the economy of the Dragonov kingdom has collapsed, its military power has not declined too much. Fighting dragons is definitely impossible to win, but fighting a small kingdom of Lomadden, there is still no problem. Correct. What was he telling you before? I just heard him talking bad about me, so taught him a small lesson. Looking at Prince Lavers, Lin Yan clapped his hands, as if he had remembered something, turned to look at Irene who was following him, and asked curiously, "It seems that there were a lot of people admonishing you at that time. It's really strange that the minister of the Dragonov kingdom didn't help the princess, but instead went to help a prince who was not from his own country." Having said that, Lin Yan's eyes swept towards the surrounding ministers. Every minister lowered his head with nervousness and fear, for fear that Lin Yan would settle accounts in the autumn. In this regard, Lin Yan just chuckled twice. Lin Yan, who has read the original book, naturally knows what will happen to Irene. Although the original anime does not describe much about the story 400 years ago, the result is still drawn. For example, after Irene became pregnant, because of the signs of dragon transformation, Irene's husband abandoned Irene and tortured Irene. Looking at the character traits that Prince Lavers showed now, it should be the husband who resolutely abandoned Irene in the original book. I'm afraid, the real purpose is not because of Irene's dragonization itself, but the long-planned plan for the kingdom of Dragonov itself. After all, only when Irene is gone will he have the opportunity to truly control the Dragonov kingdom. As for the citizens of the Dragonov kingdom, in this age when the wisdom of the people has not yet opened, no matter how much Irene's previous reputation is, if you control the fishing reel after the dragon transformation, it is easy to blacken Irene. Kindness. Our kingdom of Dragonov had signs of economic collapse as early as 30 years ago due to the influx of refugees. Today's economic system is even more useless, and it can only rely on the steady stream of food aid from the kingdom of Lomacdan to get the title down. After hearing Lin Yan's question, Irene said with a serious face, if the kingdom of Lomacdan really doesn't want the original food from our kingdom of Dragonov, I'm afraid at most 2 months, the food will completely consume the price, and then there will be turmoil. Now that the owner of the Dragonov kingdom has become Lin Yan, Irene naturally has nothing to hide, and quickly introduced the situation facing the Dragonov kingdom to Lin Yan. Through Irene's explanation, Lin Yan can be regarded as a personal understanding of the limits of the current Dragonov kingdom, and it is completely walking a tightrope on the line of life and death. It's no wonder that Irene in the original book really married Lavers step by step. This is really impossible. Once there is no original work from the kingdom of Lomacdan, the kingdom of Dragonov will completely collapse. By then, it will be good for a third of the hundreds of millions of people to survive. It can be said that in the original book, Irene really sacrificed a lot for the kingdom of Dragonov, in various senses. However, it is different now. After all, Lin Yan doesn't care so much, he doesn't dare to expand his territory arbitrarily like the kingdom of Dragonov. Not to let a small country jump on its own head to poop and pee. Before Lin Yan could continue to say anything, he just turned his attention to Prince Lavers, who seemed to have found confidence in Irene's commentary and swelled up. After all, just now, when Lin Yan killed the king of the Red Dragon Fula Myers, Prince Lavers did not see it because he was in a coma. And the surrounding ministers didn't have the chance to tell Prince Lofus what just happened. Therefore, in the eyes of Prince Lofus, Lin Yan is also a good magician. No matter how powerful it is, can it surpass the Holy Dragon Belzarian? With this understanding, Prince Lavers spoke up. That's right. Princess Irene is absolutely right. Lofus looked at Lin Yan and said with a sneer, the reason why the kingdom of Dragonov did not collapse is entirely because of the support of our kingdom of Lomacdan. Without the support of our kingdom of Lomacdan, you can imagine your final fate. If you kneel down and apologize to me now, I might just cut off your limbs to give you the possibility to live. This guy is dead. As Prince Rafus's voice fell, this sentence emerged in the hearts of everyone present. Chapter 41. Everyone looked at Prince Lavers with dead eyes. They saw with their own eyes how Lin Yan killed the Dragon King, but they knew very well how terrifying Lin Yan was, and now Prince Rafus is so happy to dance here. Totally suicidal. Some even walked a little closer to Prince Lavers, and their faces couldn't help showing fear and anger, for fear that they would be implicated by Prince Lavers' mentally retarded behavior. Lin Yan and Irene came back too fast, they didn't have time to remind Prince Lavers that Lin Yan and Irene had already returned, and they could only watch Prince Lavers die honestly now. What a kindness! Lin Yan looked at Prince Lavers' smug look, and the corners of his mouth turned up slightly, and said, it actually gave me a chance to live, and the price was just to break my limbs. It's just a pity that I'm not going to give you this chance. Shaltir, send this prince to the intelligence investigator and train him properly. Lin Yan instructed Shaltir, who was also following behind him. The intelligence investigator of the Great Tomb of Nazarick, Narast Painkeel. At the beginning, because of a prompt from the system, I was in love with Narast, so Lin Yan went to see which girl Narast was, and then let Lin Yan not eat much for half a month. Narast Painker has the fragrance and way of speaking of a girl, and the color of his skin is as turbid white as a corpse that has died from drowning. Moreover, the body was abnormally swollen like a drowned corpse, and the clothes were bolder, the black leather sinking into the skin because it was too tight. The most important thing is that Narast Painkeel thought he was more beautiful than Albedo and Shaltir, and when he heard that Lin Yan was going to summon him, he was ready to dedicate himself to Lin Yan. Almost took away Lin Yan at the time. After experiencing the horror of Narast, Lin Yan decided to let Prince Rafus experience it as well. As the intelligence investigator of the Great Tomb of Nazarick, Narost's ability is still very good. Not only can he interrogate all the information, but the method is also extremely inhumane. Even the shaking Queen Ests in the world of Scarlet Pupil is probably not as good as Narost in terms of torture methods. Ests is an amateur hobby, while Nihilist is a professional. How lucky! Sir Linyan gave Narost such a gift, and he will definitely be very happy. After Shaltir heard Linyan's words, she smiled slightly, then bowed slightly to Linyan, and dragged Prince Rafus, who was blindfolded, and walked towards the space passage. The lower body, which had been shattered, was limply dragged on the ground, and the huge pain caused Prince Rafus to cry again. "You, what are you doing? Ah! It hurts, let me go, you rude people. I'm going to tell my father that I won't want your food from the original book again." Prince Laver's shouting had no effect, and everyone just quietly watched Prince Lavers being dragged into the space passage by Shaltir, a seemingly delicate little loli. No one knows what will happen to Prince Lavers on Linyan's side, but one thing is for everyone. Prince Lavers, who has offended Linyan in various ways, is likely to be in a state of life rather than death. I ignored Prince Lavers' shouting. Linyan never took Prince Lavers seriously from the beginning to the end. Naturally, Linyan would not be angry because of Lavers' shouting. How is the national strength of the kingdom of Lomadan? Let you lead 10 dragons, can you quickly calm down? Linyan looked at Irene and asked with a smile, it's not just the kingdom of Lomadan. Since the situation in the kingdom of Dragonov is so bad, let's take all the surrounding countries into the bag. Heartfilia's population is only 100 million, and its territory is already larger than the current Delaganov. To completely resettle hundreds of millions of people, it needs at least 3 times the current land area. But in that case, Irene's expression changed slightly after hearing Linyan's terrifying words with a smile. The Dragonov kingdom is now more than 3 times the size of the country, so I don't know how many countries will be destroyed, and those countries themselves have populations. More than 3 times the national territory must be the net area excluding the area occupied by the nationals of other countries themselves. That is to say, the kingdom of Dragonov may have to expand its territory by 7 or 8 times in order to alleviate its current predicament and make new use of the domestic restrictions and the population on the verge of starvation. The expansion of the territory is also accompanied by a very direct war. To be honest, Irene doesn't want to fight with the human country. In Irene's opinion, the external dragon threat has not been eliminated, and he fought internally, which seems too stupid. Chapter 42. A qualified leader will not have any indecision. Only in this way, with absolute power, can the current kingdom of Dragonov be relieved. Linyan didn't wait for Irene to finish speaking, but just interrupted, "Irene, I hope you don't let me down. I can hand over the management of the country to you and continue to let you lead the country, but if you behave unsatisfactorily, then I will remove you. I believe that most of the people came to live in a country protected by giant dragons. The only ones who really dare to resist are the royal families and high-level officials of those countries. If you can't give up anything, you can't do anything. Such a leader is unqualified." Of course, Linyan didn't let Irene go to massacre. After all, in Linyan's eyes, everyone is one of his own wealth. If he dies too many times, Linyan will be very distressed. All Irene needs to do is take 10 dragons to deter her. Although the fighting power of the dragon clan is at most one of Linyan's 2 silver-level forces, it is still very famous in the fairy tale world. Come to think of it, when the 10 giant dragons emerge, almost no country will dare to resist. Even if there is such a country that is not afraid of death, it would be good to kill all the high-level officials of this country. I understand. I will let this world have only your voice, Lord Linyan. Irene took a deep breath. She had been trained as the future queen of the Dragonov kingdom, so she naturally understood what Linyan meant. The reason for the hesitation is that no matter how smooth the process is, there will always be confusion and casualties. However, if you don't do it because of this casualty, it will only cause more casualties. Irene thinks what Linyan said is right. To get something, you have to give up something. If he has nothing to give up, how can he become a qualified leader, and how can he lead the human race to defeat the dragon race? With such thoughts in mind, Irene decided to abandon her naive thoughts in the past, and even listening to Linyan say this, Irene herself felt a little ridiculous. That is, because he couldn't give up anything before, that's why he was threatened again and again by Prince Lofus, and was written on his head to P by the effect of the kingdom of Lomaden. Should have thought of it long ago. With the support of the holy dragon Belzarian, I really want to be ruthless, and no one really dares to oppose him. He was just too indecisive. That's right. I don't need an indecisive manager. Lin Yan nodded, very satisfied after seeing the change in the expression on Irene's face. The current Irene is barely a leader. Although the previous Irene was not bad, the word leader is still too far away. From the beginning to the end, the ministers next to him didn't dare to say a word, and just stood there with their heads bowed, not even knowing when Lin Yan and Irene left. In this way, the future development route of the Dragonov kingdom has been set. 3 days later, the kingdom of Lomaden was smashed by the kingdom of Dragonov, and the royal family of the kingdom of Lomaden was directly exterminated. The kingdom of Dragonov, which took over the kingdom of Lomaden, greatly relieved its pressure. The Dragonov kingdom has changed from its previous style and has become extremely radical. In addition, there are 10 giant dragons to deter. In just half a month or so, more than 10 countries chose to surrender, and the area of the country has doubled directly. Lin Yan's reputation is also soaring. Even if Lin Yan has not even shown his face, Lin Yan has gained nearly 200 million reputation. On the other hand, when the kingdom of Dragonov was expanding wildly under the leadership of Irene, the death of the Red Dragon King Fulamires shocked the entire dragon race. After all, the king of Red Dragons, Furlamirs, is second only to Ignir among the dragons of the Flame attribute, and he is the king of dragons that is extremely rare in the entire dragon family. Now, the Dragon King was actually killed? After the news reached the Dragon clan, it caused an uproar in a very short period of time. Is the king of Red Dragons really dead? It's just a mere human being, how could it be possible to kill the Red Dragon King Fulamires? In an unknown area, countless giant dragons gathered here, whether it was a dove or a hawk, all of them gathered at this moment. Discuss about the death of the Red Dragon King, Fulamires, by the human ants. Fulamires, the king of Red Dragons, is so powerful, how could anyone be able to kill him head-on? A giant dragon said suspiciously, it should be a sneak attack, right? Hehe, I'll give you a chance to sneak attack. Do you think you can kill the Red Dragon King Fulamires? The other dragon sneered after hearing the dragon's words, we can't do it. Human ants can actually sit there. I'm afraid, these ants have developed some incredible magic. Chapter 43. In this way, countless dove dragons and hawk dragons began to have heated discussions. Discuss what to do next. After all, the Dragon King has died, which means that humans already have the strength to solve most of the dragons. This makes many dragons feel a little scared when they are not feeling well. After all, they, who have 1,000-year lifespan, don't want to die so easily, and they still die in the hands of humans who used to be as serious as ants. Before these giant dragons could continue arguing, a thick voice appeared, suppressing the other voices around, and a giant dragon with a golden body and an unusually strong body slowly stood up. This is the most recognized Dragon King in the Dragon clan, Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragons. Even Ignir, the King of Fire Dragons, is a little worse than Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragons. Okay, stop arguing. The human side should have developed a kind of hallucination magic. The Thunder Dragon King Alfred glanced around, looked at the surrounding dragons and said indifferently, there are already 100 of the same race controlled by humans, which should be the reason. It should have the same effect as the great magic of good and evil, Nirvana, which was researched by humans last time. It's just that compared to Nirvana, this illusion magic is a bit more threatening. As the voice of the Thunder Dragon King Alfred fell, the surrounding dragons were stunned for a moment, and then their expressions suddenly changed, and they began to discuss. Humans have never given up the idea of confronting dragons. For thousands of years, humans have been studying magic that can confront dragons all the time. Although most of the magic has failed, but after thousands of years, some magic has been researched that has a good effect on the dragon. The great magic of good and evil, Nirvana, researched by the Nerubite family, is one of them. Nirvana is a forbidden magic that can reverse good and evil. It is a magic researched by Luo Binglu, the patriarch of the Nerubite clan, in order to stop the dragons who continue to wantonly slaughter humans in this era. And it is beginning to bear fruit. The number of dragons who were originally close to humans was not even 1/10, but now nearly 1/3 are close to humans. This is all due to Nirvana. It can be said that Luo Binglu really changed the world by just a little bit. It is a pity that although the great magic of good and evil, Nirvana, can reverse good and evil, but it does not have much effect on those determined dragons. Because the wind was smooth, Luo Bingluo tried to reverse the thoughts of the king of the dragon clan, but it turned over naturally, and the great magic of good and evil nirvana was completely exposed to the eyes of the dragon clan. In the end, the Nilabit family was exterminated, and Luo Bingluo, a well-known wizard in the human world, also ushered in the end, barely surviving in the way of obsession. For the great magic of good and evil, nirvana, a magic that can change the minds of giant dragons, many dragons are still very fresh in their memory and vigilant. No one wants to become another personality without knowing it. If that's the case, are you really still yourself? So, we can't give humans the time to develop as we did last time. We must completely destroy these taboo humans at a thunderous speed before these humans control more of our kin. King of Thunder Dragon Alfred said loudly after seeing that it was almost the same. After hearing the words of the Thunder Dragon King Alfred, all the giant dragons responded one after another, roaring frantically to vent their anger. Because of Lin Yan's relationship, the Dove Dragons and Hawks Dragons unexpectedly returned to a unified front again. After all, no matter how close they are to humans, the Dove Dragons are still dragons, not humans. But before that, there is a traitor that needs to be dealt with. That is the kingdom of Dragonov, which is colluding with the kingdom of Heartfilia. Looking at the people who responded to his own clan, the Thunder Dragon King Alfred nodded with great satisfaction, and said with a serious face, "The kingdom of Dragonov is the chassis of the holy dragon Belzarian. Now that there are 10 of the same race in the kingdom of Dragonov, the holy dragon Belzarian must know something. You have to ask the holy dragon Belzarian to give an explanation. Otherwise, even if it is the same clan, we will never spare it." As the voice of the Thunder Dragon King Alfred fell, the Thunder Dragon King Alfred took the lead and flew quickly towards the location of the Dragonov kingdom. Seeing this scene, the other dragons also took off and quickly followed. For a while, a very spectacular scene appeared, and the dragon group that covered the sky quickly flew in the direction of the kingdom of Dragonov. There were countless screams of terror along the way. All human beings who see this vision feel that the end of the world is coming. Chapter 44. Never in recorded history has the dragons made such a big move. After all, the dragons were almost invincible from birth, and no race other than the dragons could harm the dragons at all. In addition, the number of dragons has always been relatively small, which has led to the situation that dragons are not often seen, and scenes such as today's large-scale deployment are unheard of. The death of the king of red dragons, Fula Myers, was like a slap, which completely awakened the dragon family, and also completely angered the dragon family, making the dragon family become the same enemy. The Dove Dragon Clan and Hawk Clan Dragon Clan, who were supposed to be at war with each other, stood together, ready to ask the holy dragon Belzarian of the Dragonov kingdom. At least so far, there is no obvious contradiction between the Dove Dragon and the Hawk Dragon. The Hawk Dragons will not destroy the toys of the Dove Dragons, and most of the Dove Dragons are for personal concerns, and they will not care what influence the Hawk Dragons have on their beloved toys. Enclosures like the holy dragon Belzarian are extremely rare. A volcanic area on the continent of Ishgar. With a slight shaking, a huge figure not weaker than the Thunder Dragon King Alfred slowly emerged from the bright red magma and stood up. This is the adoptive father of the hero Natsu Dolaniger in the original novel, Igneel the Dragon King of Fire. Oh! Did that guy Alfred head towards Belzarian with his kin? Igneel looked at a mountain top not far away, his whole body was burning with flames, like a giant dragon made of flames, the flame dragon Atlas Flame. This is the good friend of Igneel, the Dragon King of Fire. In the original book, it was with the help of the Yanlong Atlas Flame that Natsu successfully passed the chapter of the great demon director Wu. The strength belongs to the more elite dragon clan. That's right, Igneel. In a few minutes at most, they will probably arrive in the country that Belzarian guards. Compared to Igneel, who was still relatively calm, Atlas Flame seemed a little anxious. Sacred Dragon Belzarian belongs to the Dove faction Dragon Clan, and usually has a good relationship with Yanlong Atlas Flame. Yanlong is worried that the Thunder Dragon King will kill Shenglong directly. After all, there is indeed a major problem on the side of Shenglong. Because according to the standpoint, no matter how much the Holy Dragon Belzarian likes his toys, he is still a member of the Dragon family after all, and it is precisely because everyone regards the Holy Dragon Belzarian as his own family, so he will always tolerate the Holy Dragon Belzarian rodeo behavior. As a result, this happened now. The Dragon family will temporarily put the culprit Heartfilia aside for a while, and in any case, they have to question the Holy Dragon Belzarian first. If the Holy Dragon Belzarian can't give a suitable answer, then the final result naturally need not say much. This matter, Belzarian did wrong, it is difficult to manage. The Red Dragon King Furlamirs is dead, and Belzarian is actually related to the person who killed the Red Dragon King. What do you want me to do? After hearing the words of his good friend Yanlong, Igneel was a little helpless. The relationship between Igneel and the Holy Dragon Belzarian is not bad. If he could manage it, Igneel would have already set off to manage it. How could he need a reminder from Yanlong? At least, save Belzarian's life. Igneel, you know the temper of that guy Alfred. Yanlong said helplessly after hearing Igneel's words. Belzarian is also stubborn. If Belzarian really doesn't answer properly, he will definitely be killed by Alfred. I see. I'll go take a look. After a long silence, Igneel replied. After he finished speaking, before Atlas Flame could continue to say anything, Igneel's pair of huge wings slammed and flew towards the location of the Dragonov Kingdom. Although he started a lot of time late, Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragons, was flying with the nature of a demonstration of dragons, so he was not flying fast. Coupled with the relationship of Igneel flying with all his strength, before the King of Thunder Dragon Alfred arrived at the border of Dragonov Kingdom, Igneel successfully flew to the head of King Alfred of Thunder Dragon. In front of the dragon group. Alfred! Give me a face and stop. Looking at the group of dragons that stopped because of him, Igneel said with a serious face, let me talk to Belzarian, you guys go back for a while. Igneel! Do you know what you're talking about? The Thunder Dragon King Alfred narrowed his eyes slightly after hearing Igneel's words, and said very dissatisfiedly, the Red Dragon King Fulamirs is dead, did you know? Faced with the fall of the Dragon King, you actually let me go back. At the end of the sentence, Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragon, roared loudly at Igneel. Chapter 45. The Red Dragon King Fulamirs has a good personal relationship with the Thunder Dragon King Alfred. In other words, the personal friendship between the Dragon King and the Dragon King is not bad. After all, they are the strongest group, and the Dragon King of the entire dragon family is not more than the Tree of Hands. Therefore, when he learned the news of the death of his friend, the King of the Red Dragon, Fulamirs, Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragons, was shocked, but also furious like never before. There is also a scene where Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragons, leads the group of dragons. I know. Alfred, don't get excited, I didn't say this and let it go. Looking at Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragons, Igneel said with a serious face, I just want you to leave the next thing to me. Your temper, as everyone knows, Belzarian's temper is also known. If I can't give you a satisfactory answer, then you can do whatever you want, how about it? Alfred, please, let me go this time. Originally, Igneel really didn't want to worry about this. After all, the Holy Dragon Belzarian can almost be said to be on the opposite side of the entire dragon family. The politics is quite incorrect, and it is completely courting death. Not to mention the hawk dragons, even the dove dragons are a little excited now. There have been no casualties in the dragon clan for many years. This time, not only ordinary dragons have died, but even the kings of the dragon clan have died. How can this not make them angry? But I really wanted to watch the Holy Dragon Belzarian be beaten to death by Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragons, because of his stubborn temper, and Igneel couldn't bear it. They are old friends who have known each other for hundreds of years. After all, if the opponent really has the ability to kill the Dragon King, an elite dragon like the Holy Dragon Belzarian will not have any resistance at all. He can only watch the death of the Red Dragon King Fulamirs. There is no way, Igneel, the Dragon King of Fire, who seldom takes softness, has a rare softness to Alfred, the Dragon King of Thunder. After all, in a real fight, there are more hawk dragons than dove dragons. Moreover, Igneel really can't beat Alfred, the Dragon King of Thunder. In the past few hundred years, the two of them had fought many times for a long time, and their overall physical qualities were similar, but the aggression of the Thunder attribute was slightly higher than that of the Fire attribute. So every time he lost Igneel. Although it was all laughter and slapstick between the same clan, it was not real, but the Thunder Dragon King Alfred was also not real. Seriously, the final result won't make much difference. Alfred, the Dragon King of Thunder, looked at Igneel, who was soft on himself for the first time, and was silent for a while. Although he is short-tempered and impatient, Alfred, the Dragon King of Thunder, is the most soft-hearted. Alfred, the Dragon King of Thunder, has already planned it. If Igneel must stop himself, he must teach Ignir a lesson, but now seeing Ignir so sincere and submissive, he can even say what he looks like. The Thunder Dragon King Alfred also became a little hesitant. I'll only give you 1 day. Looking at Ignir, the Thunder Dragon King Alfred also said with a serious face, if you can't give me a satisfactory answer after a day, what will be the result in the end, you know. After finishing speaking, the Thunder Dragon King Alfred did not continue to say anything, and did not give Igneel a chance to continue to speak. He just accelerated and quickly disappeared from the sight of all the dragons. And all the dragons present also received an order to gather at this time the next day. Igneel opened his mouth, wanting to say something, and then heaved a deep sigh, followed by a bright red streamer, flying towards the direction of Dragonov Kingdom. Oh! Have you been persuaded to come down? Inside the great tomb of Nazarick, Lin Yan was lying on Albedo's pair of big white tui, enjoying Albedo's massage. Watching the live projection in mid-air, she laughed lightly. All right. I thought this battle had to be fought. Looking at the system panel with a reputation value of more than 900 million, Lin Yan nodded in satisfaction. If the Dragon Clan is really under the leadership of the Thunder Dragon King Alfred today, if they want to start a full-scale war with Lin Yan must draw 2 more silver-level forces. Just the Great Tomb of Nazarick and the 10 Blades of the Void Circle are not 100% insurance. Now, you can wait until tomorrow when the reputation value reaches 1 billion and directly extract the gold-level forces. At that time, Lin Yan can be considered completely stable and impregnable. Even if the world of fairy tale is turned upside down, it is impossible for Lin Yan to have any impact. Gold-level power is absolutely enough to completely suppress the entire fairy tale world. Chapter 46. To be honest, Lin Yan himself was a little curious about how terrifying the gold-level forces were. After all, even if Lin Yan upgraded his power system from the Great Tomb of Nazarick to LV, and matched it with a full set of world-class items and states, it would still be a good state at the gold level. Spending 500 million reputation points to open the collapsed Jade state to Aizen Soyuzhuk, with the ability to evolve and adapt infinitely, is also just a good existence in the gold level. How terrifying are the platinum level, diamond level, and the strongest king level forces behind the gold level, and the final pure black unknown level forces. I don't know what rank the saints in the prehistoric world belong to. Saint, Quasi-Saint, Deluo Jinxian. The Hall of All Kings in the Dragon Ball world seems to be trying to break through the limitations of the dimension. Sun Wukong enters the state of the White God. I am afraid it is similar to Beerus. There are angels and priests on Beerus. There are also King Quan's guards and King Chuan himself above the priest. Thinking of this, Lin Yan just shook his head. Gold level is 1 billion reputation, platinum level is 10 billion, and diamond level is definitely 100 billion. Whether it is the power of the saints in the prehistoric world or the Hall of Kings in the Dragon Ball world, the most fart is estimated to be the strongest king level force, and there is no 1 trillion and 1 billion that can't come down. If it is the ultimate level of pure black power, it is 10 trillion, don't even think about it. Thinking of this, Lin Yan just shook his head and regained his drifting attention. Albedo. Tell Demiurge and Saoshik Aizen. On Albedo's fair-skinned big tui, Lin Yan turned over slightly and said with a smile, increase the publicity for me, it's better to make my reputation value exceed 1 billion before this point tomorrow. Because Lin Yan has always been a salty fish and doesn't show much publicity, so now the Heartfilia Kingdom and the Dragonov Kingdom have a combined population of nearly 1 billion, Lin Yan's current reputation value is only 900 million. The vast majority of the people who saw Lin Yan slaying the dragon with their own eyes in the early days actually had no impression of Lin Yan, and had always been in a state of knowing his name and not knowing who he was. Okay, Mr. Lin Yan. After hearing Lin Yan's order, Albedo smiled and said, I'll contact you right away. Lord Lin Yan, it's my turn. On the other side, Shaltir, who had long been envious of Albedo's flaming eyes, saw the opportunity, and hurriedly said with a smile, Shaltir's lap must be more comfortable than Albedo's. Recently, Shaltir has been trying to figure out how to massage Lin Yan-sama. Because she was particularly envious of Albedo being able to interact closely with Lin Yan every day and taking advantage of Lin Yan's relationship, Shaltir did not miss the massage skills. It was to take away Albedo's status as a royal pillow. In order to attract Lin Yan's attention, Shaltir even put fake breasts on herself. There is absolutely no need for that. It's just contact, it doesn't take much time at all. Without waiting for Lin Yan to say anything, after hearing Shaltair's words, Albedo hurriedly followed with a smile and said, I definitely won't make Lin Yan feel inferior to the massage just now. While speaking, Albedo squeezed Shaltair, who was approaching, to the side. Everyone was a woman, and Albedo naturally knew that Shaltair had always been eyeing the position of her royal cushion, and naturally she would not give Shaltair the slightest chance. Of course, no matter how noisy, neither Albedo nor Shaltair would delay Lin Yan's order, and they were very clear about their identity. It didn't take long, and soon Albedo told Lin Yan's order to Demiurge and Aizen Saushuk, who were supporting Anna and Irene, respectively, through communication magic. Demiurge and Aizen Saushuk also responded very quickly. In other words, Demiurge and Aizen Saushuk had already discussed how to make Lin Yan's reputation grow faster. If it weren't for Lin Yan's too lazy to run around, Lin Yan's current reputation is worth 10 billion, 20 to 30 billion is definitely not a big problem. After receiving the replies from Demiurge and Saushuk Aizen, Albedo's expression, who was originally smiling, became stiff. Kindness. What's the matter, Albedo? Lin Yan had a full view of Albedo's expression because he turned over. Looking at Albedo, whose expression suddenly stiffened, Lin Yan asked curiously, Demiurge, did you say something to Aizen Saushuk? It's changed so much. No, nothing. Demiurge and Saushuk Aizen have come up with a plan. Albedo said with a flustered expression, if Lord Lin Yan is willing to make trouble a little bit, you can easily gain a lot of popularity by acting with the cooperation of Lord Lin Yan. If Mr. Lin Yan thinks it's a waste of time, you can choose to gain the reputation of someone with a high reputation. For example, openly announcing the engagement with the Princess of the Kingdom of Heartfilia and the Princess of the Kingdom of Dragonov. Chapter 47. For some reason, when he said this, Albedo suddenly had a murderous intent towards Demiurge and Aizen Saushuk. These two guys knew that they liked Lord Lin Yan, but they still did it, they were courting death. Although it is true that this can meet the needs of Lin Yan, but for a while, Albedo felt extremely complicated, and there was a feeling of wanting to cry but not tears, and I felt pity. Shaltair's side was the same. After hearing the replies from Demiurge and Aizen Saushuk, their expressions were similar to Albedo's, they stiffened suddenly, and their emotions were complicated. However, without waiting for Albedo and Shaltair to think more, he felt that his forehead was lightly flicked, and then he saw Lin Yan, who was half smiling. No matter what, Albedo and Shaltair will not change. Lin Yan looked at Albedo and Shaltair and said with a smile, so, what are Albedo and Shaltair thinking about here? Lord Lin Yan. After hearing Lin Yan's words, Albedo and Shaltair immediately became excited. Albedo and Shaltair, who were a little sad at first, had long put aside the little sadness just now. Albedo and Shaltair felt that what Lin Yan said was quite right. As Lin Yan, it was definitely impossible to spoil only themselves or the other party. The whole world will be Lin Yan's private property, so Lin Yan will definitely be liked by more women. These are all things sooner or later, and I just need to guarantee my status in front of Lin Yan. Thinking of this, Shaltair set her sights on Albedo once again, and Shaltair had to take Albedo's status as a royal cushion no matter what. And Albedo, who felt Shaltair's gaze, also gave Shaltair a dangerous smile, and quietly pushed Shaltair to the side, continuing to massage Lin Yan. However, Shaltair was not far behind while gnashing her teeth. Albedo pressed Lin Yan's temples and pinched her shoulders, so that Shaltair could also massage Lin Yan's legs. In this way, Lin Yan continued to enjoy the gentle homeland of Albedo and Shaltair, as if he didn't care about the fact that he was about to start a full-scale war with the Dragon Clan today. In fact, it is. Not to mention that Lin Yan will be able to summon gold-level forces soon, even if Ignir, the Dragon King of Fire, did not succeed in persuading the group of dragons headed by Alfred, the Dragon King of Thunder. Lin Yan still did not panic. The big deal is to continue to delay the summoning, and directly summon 5 forces similar to the Great Tomb of Nazarick and the 10 Blades of the Broken Face, and directly push the entire dragon family. Night. On the city wall of King Dragonov King City, a crimson figure was standing on the city wall looking at the distant scenery. The cool evening wind blew through, lifting up some crimson hair, revealing a part of the crimson figure's profile, a face as white as snow. This is naturally the princess of the Dragonov kingdom, Irene Dragonov. Because the holy dragon Belzarian did not die in battle, Irene did not change his surname from Dragonov to Belzarian at present. At this time, Irene was not wearing armor as usual. Instead, wearing the kind of dress that ordinary girls wear, with light blue brocade on her body, her whole person's temperament has suddenly changed from a Valkyrie on the battlefield to a fairy-like, transcendent fairy. Lin Yan, who was teleported directly from the space channel, was stunned for a moment. What are you doing standing here alone? Although the night wind is very comfortable, if it keeps blowing, it will be easy to catch a cold. Lin Yan came to Irene's side, looked at Irene with a slightly sad expression, and said with a smile, "Don't you want to announce your engagement to everyone?" "No. Irene, aren't one to backtrack. Irene's pattern is not comparable to that of ordinary girls." After agreeing to Lin Yan's bet and willing to accept the loss to become Lin Yan's property, Irene is even ready to become Lin Yan RBQ. Now I just announced the marriage contract with Lin Yan. Irene is a leader who truly cares about the world. Even Lin Yan admires her. That's why Lin Yan asked just now, is Irene unhappy because of her marriage contract, and if that's the case, then forget it. For a leader like Irene, Lin Yan is more forgiving. Irene looked at Lin Yan and smiled softly, and said, even if there was no Lord Lin Yan, I would have to make a political marriage with the kingdom of Lomadan because of various factors. I'm just feeling a little apprehensive about what's coming tomorrow. Saying that, Irene turned around slightly, looked at the lively scene of lights in the city wall, sighed softly, and said, Belzarian left with a Dragon King. Because of the position, Belzarian is no longer fit to stay here in Dragonov. Lin Yan, you said, why is there a war? Let's all live in harmony together, isn't it? Chapter 48. After stopping the dragon group headed by Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragons, Ignil, the King of Fire Dragons, quickly found the Holy Dragon Belzarian to learn more about it. In any case, the Holy Dragon Belzarian is a member of the dragon family, so after hesitating for a while, he told Ignil, the King of Fire Dragons, what happened at that time. The dragon's anger has completely erupted. Even Ignir, the King of Fire Dragons, was only delayed for a day at most. So, after learning some things, Ignir, the King of Fire Dragons, asked the Holy Dragon Belzarian what he thought. Belzarian, what are your options? Do you continue to stand with the humans you recognize, or stand by? In the end, are you fighting against the dragons or just watching? Ignil asked very directly. If he still chooses to stand on the side of Dragonov Kingdom, then even Ignir, the King of Fire Dragons, can't help the Holy Dragon Belzarian. The final result is of course needless to say. The conflict between the Dove Dragon Clan and the Hawk Clan Dragon Clan has not even emerged yet, but because of Lin Yan's reasons, some common enemies have become anxious. Usually, regardless of the Dove or Hawk Dragons, the attitude towards the Holy Dragon Belzarian is still good, so this time, in a state of peace of mind, the Holy Dragon Belzarian's position has changed. Instead of defending the kingdom of Dragonov and dying in battle as in the original book, he chose to leave with Ignil and became a spectator. Of course, this also has something to do with the fact that the Holy Dragon Belzarian felt that the kingdom of Dragonov did not need to continue to protect it. Holy Dragon Belzarian himself is an elite-level dragon. There is a long distance from the king of the dragon family, and Lin Yan forcibly crushed the king of the red dragon Fula Myers to death in front of it. Therefore, it doesn't really matter whether the kingdom of Dragonov has the protection of the Holy Dragon Belzarian or not, so after the influence of various comprehensive factors, it has led to the current situation. Some of Irene's worries are not because of the fact that the Holy Dragon Belzarian left itself, but what Irene is really worried about is that the future may stand against the Holy Dragon Belzarian. After this period of contact with Lin Yan, Izan Soyajik was also sent by Lin Yan to assist him. Irene already knew very well how powerful the forces controlled by Lin Yan were. Definitely not weaker than the dragon family. And it is precisely because of this that Irene is worried. When Lin Yan's side and the dragon family have a complete fight, will the Holy Dragon Belzarian really still be a spectator? I'm afraid, to the extent of being immortal, Irene and the Holy Dragon Belzarian have to stand on opposite sides because of their respective positions. Every time I think of this, Irene feels very uncomfortable inside. Obviously, it is such a beautiful thing for everyone to live together under the same sky. Will we live well together under the same sky? The idea is really good, I also admit, Irene, your idea is also worth yearning for. After hearing Irene's exclamation, Lin Yan smiled slightly and said, but, Irene, do you really have the strength and ability to implement your ideas now? The end without power, I think you should have a very deep understanding. Kindness. Without power, no one would care at all. Irene watched Lin Yan silent for a while, and said, just like no one cares how long the ants on the roadside yearn for peace, peace can never be prayed for. Lord Lin Yan, are you going to marry me? Suddenly, Irene took the topic to a 360-degree turn. Let the conversation suddenly change from worrying about the future of humanity to a strange place. That's right. After hearing Irene's last sentence, Lin Yan was stunned for a moment, then the corner of her mouth turned up slightly, and said, since I'm all ready to get engaged, I'm not one to go back on my word. I feel very honored to be the wife of Lord Lin Yan. After hearing Lin Yan's words, Irene also smiled slightly, took 2 steps towards Lin Yan's position gently, hugged Lin Yan slowly, and continued, actually, I rarely wear girls' pretty clothes. Clothing. As the future successor of the kingdom of Dragonov, the future queen who is favored by the holy dragon Belzarian, I cannot show a weak side. I have always been forcing myself to become strong, to become extremely strong, to be a qualified leader, and I don't even dare to take off the armor I wear. Every time I take off my armor, I feel a sense of fear. Until I met Lord Lin Yan, I didn't dare to take off my armor easily. Irene raised her head slightly and looked at Lin Yan's face. Irene, who has always been very strict with herself, does not want an existence that she can rely on. Irene once regarded the holy dragon Belzarian as her own. Holy dragon Belzarian is really nice to Irene. It's just that the holy dragon Belzarian is gone, and now Lin Yan has become Irene's new support. Chapter 49. Looking at Irene hugging her gently, Lin Yan naturally couldn't do anything. If he hesitated, he would give it in vain. Lin Yan directly hugged her back, hugged Irene in the midst of Irene's exclamation, and returned to Irene's room. As the future queen of the Dragonov kingdom, Irene's room has a big, soft bed. It should be a very good thing for Lin Yan and Irene to rest and sleep on this big and soft bed. The next day, the news that Lin Yan, Irene, and Anna confirmed their engagement was spread all over the country. Because of this news, the reputation value, which had already risen relatively slowly, increased at a geometric rate once again, and directly exceeded 1 billion reputation value in just 1 hour. Just like what Demiurge and Eisen Saushik analyzed, if Lin Yan doesn't want to trouble himself, then he can choose to take advantage of the popularity of famous people. For example, Irene and Anna, who often appear in the eyes of the public, directly announce that they have established a marriage contract with Irene and Anna, and they will be able to reap a large amount of prestige in an instant. System: consume 1 billion reputation points to extract gold level forces. Ding! Start extracting gold level forces. After the prestige value reached 1 billion, Lin Yan did not hesitate, and directly chose to consume all the prestige points and choose to draw gold level forces. Along with Lin Yan's decision, a rapidly spinning turntable appeared in Lin Yan's mind again, and finally quickly settled down. Saint Seiya Sanctuary. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining the gold level power sanctuary in the world of Saint Seiya. The forces of all worlds, sanctuary. Leader: Sayori Jato, Unawakened Athena. Golden Zodiac: Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer. Silver Saints: Aquila, Ophiuchus, Lizard, Beluga. Bronze Saints: Pegasus, Draco, Cygnus, Andromeda. Compared with the 2 silver level forces that Lin Yan summoned before, the gold level forces are really too much stronger, and they really are not one dimension and one level. Not to mention other things, I'm afraid it's just a gold saint who can take away silver level forces, such as the man closest to God, the Virgo Gold Saint Shaka. The Virgo Golden Saint Sakanai is the reincarnation of Buddha. He is the only golden saint who has realized the 8th sense of Alaya, and is titled the man closest to God. At the age of 7, Shaka had become a golden saint, a terrifying existence who had already penetrated the way of reincarnation at a young age and could be exchanged with the full God Buddha. With this one, Lin Yan felt that all members of the Great Tomb of Nazarick might be beaten when they played, that is, they could barely compete with world-class equipment or props. It was not until this time that Lin Yan finally understood why Eisen Soyuzhuk, who was able to turn on the collapsed jade state and able to evolve and adapt infinitely, could only be a good gold-level character. Compared with the Virgo Saint Seiya, Eisen Soyuzhuk is indeed a younger brother. Moreover, the Virgo Gold Saint Sagar is not one of the most gorgeous attribute panels in the Sanctuary Saints, especially compared to the leader Athena. Looking at Athena's attribute panel, Lin Yan felt that the gold-level forces really felt wronged by Athena. Once Athena was fully awakened, the golden zodiac was really not enough for Athena to press with one finger. I am afraid that there is the strength of a platinum-level character. The gold-level forces summoned this time are similar to the silver-level forces summoned last time, and they are the forces at the peak of the current level. It's just that to awaken Athena, at least 5 billion reputation points are needed. In a short time, Lin Yan thinks it should be impossible. After looking at the gold card in the system backpack representing the sanctuary of the gold level power, Lin Yan had nothing to hesitate and chose to summon directly. Following Lin Yan's call, a total of 89 people, led by Athena, appeared in front of Lin Yan. The moment they saw Lin Yan, everyone, including Athena, knelt down neatly. Lord Lin Yan. X89. Well, it's all right. Looking at the people who were kneeling in front of him respectfully, Lin Yan nodded with satisfaction, and then set his eyes on Athena, who was headed by him. This is the heroine in the world of Saint Seiya. Every few hundred years, when the world is shrouded in evil, the reincarnation of Athena will come to the world. Although he hasn't awakened yet, he has already vaguely revealed that noble temperament. Just looking at it from a distance will give people a feeling of indescribable preciousness. Not to mention that Sayori Shirato has not awakened to become Athena, it was just the golden zodiac that made Lin Yan want to shout loudly. Who can stop me? How can I lose now? This wave is directly stable, and the opponent can play GG. Chapter 50. Really, Lin Yan really doesn't know who else in the fairy tale world can beat him. Even the god Angsel Ramel, the god in charge of life and death in the original book, is probably a younger brother in front of the zodiac. If not, in front of Athena after awakening, it must be a younger brother. After taking a brief look at Sayori, the city-to-be who is not yet Athena, Lin Yan focused his attention on the male protagonist CEO Pegasus in the area behind the Bronze Saints. Although he is still a Bronze Saint, and his combat power is not even the best among Bronze Saints, Lin Yan, who has watched the original anime, knows that Pegasus Saint Seiya has a terrifyingly high ceiling. However, that should be a long time ago. Shirato Sayori, just follow me. The other people go to Demiurge to find out the situation, and then half of them will guard the kingdom of Heartfilia, and half of them will guard the kingdom of Dragonov. Lin Yan made arrangements for the 88 saints who could defy the sky. Next, all you need to do is wait quietly for the dying dragons to come to the door and send them to their deaths. Lin Yan thinks, I am afraid that the Bronze Saints will already be able to fight with ordinary dragons. Meanwhile, on the other side, in some unknown mountain, the Dragon King of Thunder, Alfred, who was dozing, slowly opened his eyes after hearing the discussion of the surrounding dragons. A marriage contract. The Thunder Dragon King Alfred snorted coldly and said, it seems that they have absolutely no idea what they will face next. Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragons, was quite dissatisfied with the fact that humans were still in the mood to announce their engagement, and he didn't take their dragons seriously at all. Originally, there was still about half an hour before the appointment with Igneel, the King of the Fire Dragon, but after hearing the absurd news from the human side, Alfred the King of the Thunder Dragon was not ready to wait any longer. Directly a pair of huge wings shook. With the dragon group quickly flew towards the location of Heartfilia Kingdom. Now that the Holy Dragon Belzarian has given a more reasonable explanation under the guidance of Ignir, the King of Fire Dragons, Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragons, has reset his goal to the culprit that caused all this to happen. On the Kingdom of Heartfilia. First destroy the Kingdom of Heartfilia, then destroy the beloved toy of the Holy Dragon Belzarian, and finally kill half of the human beings on the entire continent, so that humans know the price of angering the dragons. Now that it is decided, then, don't let go of the human cities you pass by. Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragons, looked at a human town on his body, and there was a hint of cruelty in his eyes. Without any hesitation, it was just a flash of lightning. Half of an entire human town was turned into ruins. Under the leadership of the Thunder Dragon King Alfred, the dragons were no longer satisfied with destroying the human towns one by one, and began to spread out. A look that really wants to let half of the human beings in this world die. The King of Thunder Dragon, Alfred, after a few attempts, once again took a large part of the giant dragon and continued to fly towards the location of the Kingdom of Heartfilia. For Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragons, killing a few human towns on the way to the Kingdom of Heartfilia is an appetizer. However, if you eat too many appetizers, there will be no room for a truly delicious meal, so Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragons, asks other people to punish humans. On the other hand, he quickly rushed towards the location of the kingdom of Heartfilia. The battle between dragons and men broke out in full swing. If it weren't for the battle between dragons and the battles between people, this time can be understood as a complete Dragon King festival. After about 2 or 3 minutes, when Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragon, was still some distance away from the kingdom of Heartfilia, a space channel appeared directly not far away. Because of the space passage that suddenly appeared, and a few people slowly walking out of the space passage, Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragon, stopped. After all, it is not easy to know from the way of appearance. And, through part of the memory shared by the Holy Dragon Belzarian, Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragons, knew what Lin Yan looked like who killed the King of Red Dragons, Furlamirs. The moment Lin Yan walked out of the space passage, Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragon, recognized Lin Yan's identity. Considering Lin Yan's record in killing the Dragon King, the Thunder Dragon King Alfred didn't act immediately, but looked at Lin Yan and the few people behind Lin Yan with vigilance. How? Looking at Lin Yan and others who came out of the space passage, Alfred the Thunder Dragon King sneered and said, "Is it so impatient to come to seek death?" Chapter 51. If you want to destroy the country, let's be direct, okay? First, destroy my country, and then do other things. Lin Yan looked at Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragons, who had the word expansion written on his face with a look of speechlessness and helplessness, and said, "You guys really make people feel a little troublesome." Originally, Lin Yan was going to put the Dragon Clan affairs aside and enjoy his own gentle homeland, Irene, Albedo, Shaltir, Anna, and the newcomer Cirato Sayori. Which one is not a peerless beauty with excellent temperament? As a result, Lin Yan did not expect that the dragon group led by the Thunder Dragon King Alfred did not play cards according to their own routines, and they started to do things everywhere before they reached the kingdom of Heartfilia. You must know that these populations are an important source of Lin Yan's reputation. Even an ordinary dragon on the dragon family's side can easily destroy hundreds of thousands of people in an entire city. If these dragons are allowed to act recklessly, Lin Yan's loss is really big. Lin Yan also only hoped that in the state of salted fish, he could collect 10 billion reputation points to summon a stronger platinum-level force in a short period of time, or spend 5 billion reputation points to unlock Athena. Whether it's destroying your country or bringing fear to the rest of humanity, don't delay. After hearing Lin Yan's words, the Thunder Dragon King Alfred narrowed his eyes slightly, and a terrifying electric current began to flow from his body, saying, "It's time for you ants who lack awe of our clan, I felt my horror once." Roar of the Thunder Dragon King. A flickering, extremely bright golden light emerged from the mouth of Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragons, and there was almost no time for anyone to react, and it directly formed and rushed in the direction of Lin Yan. In the golden light, there was an aura of destruction that ordinary people could feel despair. No, not just ordinary people, even the strongest wizard in this world can only feel utter despair when facing the Thunder Dragon King Alfred. The dragons behind Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragons, all looked at Lin Yan and the others with a sneer. In their opinion, in the next instant Lin Yan and the others will be turned into ashes under the roar of the Thunder Dragon King Alfred and completely disappear from this world. After all, even if they are dragons, it is impossible to bear the roar of Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragons. However, the next scene that made all the dragons at the scene unbelievable appeared. With the ground shaking for a while, Lin Yan and others who were completely unscathed reappeared in the sight of all the dragons, and the pupils of all the dragons shrank suddenly. How is this possible? I feel very clearly that my attack should hit you. Looking at the scene in front of him, the pupil of the Thunder Dragon King Alfred also shrank slightly, and said, "Even if you can carry it, it is impossible for you to have no damage at all. It's boring, it's really boring." Lin Yan looked at the unbelievable expression of Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragons, and shook his head with a laugh, and said with a chuckle, "It doesn't matter what kind of dragon of the earth or Sharon or any other dragon. Your words are always so cookie-cutter, forget it, that's it. I am here to announce that the era of dragons is over." As Lin Yan's voice fell, Lin Yan raised his right hand with a smile, and then pressed it down sharply out of thin air. Boom! A series of explosions sounded, and the sky was filled with blood fog. The pouring blood rain dyed the world blood red. Because Lin Yan exchanged all the prestige points for the power system of the Great Tomb of Nazarick, the power system of the Sanctuary Saint is a bit expensive, so Lin Yan used the power of the Great Tomb of Nazarick. The Thunder Dragon King Alfred Lin Yan, who reached level 100, couldn't make a single move, but if it was just the 1,000 minions behind the Thunder Dragon King Alfred, there would be no problem. Bastard, bastard! You all, what have you done to my fellow clan? The Thunder Dragon King Alfred stared at the blood fog behind him with a stiff expression. The Thunder Dragon King Alfred, who was still a little calm, suddenly turned hideous after seeing the blood fog in the sky, and said to Lin Yan, "Look at what you have done. You actually dare to do such a thing to my fellow clan. I can't spare you." The eyes of Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragon, quickly changed from disbelief to madness. In just an instant, 1,000 giant dragons turned into a snow dance in front of him. This was different from other giant dragons that had been scattered. 1,000 giant dragons can be said to be the life of Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragons. All the friends I know. It can be said that Lin Yan directly killed all the relatives and friends of the Thunder Dragon King Alfred. Chapter 52. Oh! Can't you spare me? Lin Yan looked at Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragon, who was incompetent and furious, and laughed lightly. "Why don't you spare me? Is it like this now? Can't you forgive me on your knees? Give it to me, kneel down." The domination spell is activated. With Lin Yan's voice falling, the Thunder Dragon King Alfred's body instantly stiffened, as if he was bound by some invisible existence. Boom! A huge roar sounded, and the Thunder Dragon King Alfred fell to the ground like a dead thing. Under the suppression of Lin Yan's ruling spell, Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragons, was similar to the previous King of Red Dragons, Fu La Myers, and kept a kneeling posture facing Lin Yan and others in the sky. Yes, it's much more comfortable to look at this way. In your words, it should be that ants have to look like ants. Lin Yan looked at the regular Thunder Dragon King Alfred and chuckled twice again. When I watched fairy tale anime before, Lin Yan didn't feel anything, but when Lin Yan personally participated in fairy tale's cruel era 400 years ago, it was Lin Yan who truly understood what kind of virtue the Dragon Clan was. It's really the kind of thing that makes people very blind just by looking at it. If it weren't for the fact that the previous 2 silver-level forces had been unstable for a long time, it might have caused a big mess. Lin Yan had already passed by. Just like Lin Yan saw that the dragon race started to kill people everywhere. Lin Yan hurriedly brought people here. Dragons are also life. Lin Yan's top powerhouses who can crush dragons are probably less than 50, while there are more than 10,000 dragons. If the dragons really don't care and let go of the killing, it will really make Lin Yan lose a lot. Although there are a lot of scumbags among the Golden Saints, it is better to be cautious. As a result, Lin Yan was a little helpless. The dragons did not play cards according to the routine, and they had already started to enjoy the carnival of destroying human beings before they officially started playing. This caused Lin Yan to lose a lot of population. Thousands of dragons have directly caused the death of nearly 100 million people in a short period of time, and the rate of death of the population is still increasing. The speed of the Dragon Clan is very fast, and the ordinary Dragon Clan has 10 times the speed of sound. In just 10 minutes, thousands of Dragon Clan let go of the killing, and the number of killings is less. Most of the dragons choose to kill slowly, and slowly make fun of humans. If you really want to kill for the sake of killing, I am afraid that the number of deaths can be doubled. It's you, it's you, it's you, it's you. Damn ants, I must tear you up, I must make you regret everything you did. After hearing Lin Yan's words from the Thunder Dragon King Alfred's side, a blue vein with a violent throbbing began to appear on his face. Anyone can clearly feel the anger of Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragons, that shot into the sky. However, what no one noticed was that the word ants that Alfred the King of Thunder Dragons often used to hang on his mouth never came out of his mouth again. Although at this moment, the Thunder Dragon King Alfred is full of hatred and anger towards what Lin Yan has done, but the terrifying strength shown by Lin Yan has already made the Thunder Dragon King Alfred acquiesce in his heart. Now, Lin Yan is not the ant in his usual mouth. Even, relatively speaking, it is the ant who may be suppressed and kneeled on the ground. If you continue to call Lin Yan an ant, then what are you, even an ant? If this is not the case, how can he kneel in front of the ants? Tear me up again. I've already forgotten that you were the first to say you were going to tear me up. Lin Yan laughed happily when he looked at Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragons, with his blue veins throbbing violently. Of course, it was a cheerful joke, but now any normal person can see the slightly cold expression on Lin Yan's face, and the murderous intent that was not concealed in his eyes. At first glance, it seems to be smiling and laughing, but it makes people feel chills in their hearts, as if there is a steady stream of cool air coming out of their hearts. Although it was less than a year since Lin Yan passed through, Lin Yan himself could not quite remember how many people were buried in the hands of the dragon clan. In less than a year, Lin Yan has actually been deeply shocked by the cruelty of this era, which Lin Yan has never experienced before. The last second may have been a very prosperous human city, and the next second may become a sea of corpses and blood. Lin Yan doesn't hate all dragons, but it doesn't cover Alfred, the king of thunder dragons, screaming in front of him. So say it. Alfred, the king of thunder dragons, if your dragon race excludes a few guys who make me look a little more pleasing to the eye, it will really be an ugly race. Chapter 53. Ugly race. Stop joking, a mere human being, a mere ant-like race, is so shameless. The Thunder Dragon King Alfred raised his head little by little and looked at Lin Yan, who had been looking down at him in the sky. Although Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragon, did not seem to have been hurt from the beginning to the end, everything he has experienced now has not given any trace of Alfred's self-confidence, self-esteem and pride. The smashing of the room left no residue at all. After speaking, Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragon, also started to burn the magic crystal in his body regardless, and a magic power that was much larger than before began to flow from Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragon. Out. Under the support of this huge magic power, Alfred, the Thunder Dragon King, who has been suppressed by Lin Yan's ruling spell, has a faint sign of breaking free. A huge amount of magic power was condensed crazily in the mouth of the Thunder Dragon King Alfred. Alfred, the Thunder Dragon King, opened his mouth as wide as possible, and his mouth began to flash with a dark golden light that had never been seen before. As the old saying goes, don't die in silence, just go crazy in silence. After the last trace of confidence, self-respect, and pride in his heart were shattered by Lin Yan without any mercy, Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragon, decided to drive himself completely crazy. In fact, even if the Thunder Dragon King Alfred thinks that he can live today, he has no face to continue to live. The pride of the dragon family makes the Thunder Dragon King Alfred unable to survive. Oh! Interesting, isn't there a 10th grade difference? Lin Yan looked at the Thunder Dragon King Alfred, who was struggling to stand up slowly from his kneeling state, and said thoughtfully, he was actually able to break free from the repressive state of the ruling spell. It's not bad, it makes me feel less boring. Looking at Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragon, Lin Yan chuckled lightly. Humans can choose to consume their vitality and let themselves shine brightly, no matter how hard they are forced to bloom, and the same is true for the dragon family. As long as the dragon race is willing to pay a huge price, it is possible to shine a dazzling light. For example, the current Thunder Dragon King Alfred is like this. He chooses to consume his huge vitality, bases everything on himself, and prepares to give Lin Yan a painful blow. With the continuous flow of vitality, the strong body of the original Thunder Dragon King Alfred is also withering at a very obvious speed. Lord Lin Yan! You better be careful. At this time, Albedo, who had been standing behind Lin Yan, was a little wary. Looking at Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragons, who was in a state of rage, Albedo said with a serious face, the comprehensive data of this Dragon King's magic power has increased a lot. May have surpassed LV's purple characters. Let's leave it to Albedo next. It would be bad if Lin Yan gets dust on his body. At this time, Alfred, the Thunder Dragon King, who was in the state of infinite explosion, finally succeeded in attracting Albedo's attention. It just made Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragons, feel a little sad that even if he was in such a state, he only made Albedo feel that Lin Yan's body would be stained with dust. Just got so-called dust. Then let's try it out and see if it gets dusty. The Thunder Dragon King Alfred looked at Albedo, who was standing in front of Lin Yan with a crazy look in his eyes, and said, let's see if you can take this attack. Sacrifice all the attacks of my Thunder Dragon King, Alfred. The dark golden beam of light rushed towards Lin Yan's location with a destructive aura. It can be clearly felt that compared with the random roar of the Thunder Dragon King Alfred just now, this dark golden beam of light is obviously many times more terrifying. It is completely a difference between the sky and the earth. Just like what Albedo said just now, if Lin Yan faced this attack, he might really get a lot of dust on his body. Lin Yan is very poor now and has no reputation. Not only has the power system of the Sanctuary Saint Cea not been exchanged, but even the equipment in the Great Tomb of Nazarick is only a few pieces that were used before. The attack of the Thunder Dragon King Alfred let Lin Yan pick it up himself, which would indeed make Lin Yan embarrassed, but at most it was embarrassing. As for causing a lot of damage to Lin Yan? Stop dreaming, it doesn't exist. Lin Yan's level is higher than Alfred, King of Thunder Dragon, and his equipment is better than King Alfred of Thunder Dragon. Alfred, King of Thunder Dragon, tried his best, and at most, Lin Yan got that much blood on his body. Just a tiny bit of dust. Not even dust is likely. Albedo can't allow a guy like Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragons, to sully his Lin Yan Sama. Chapter 54. In the Great Tomb of Nazarick, there are 4 NPCs who are best at hand-to-hand combat. Among them, Albedo had the strongest defense, and was almost impeccable in terms of defense, and was the most powerful shield in the Great Tomb of Nazarick. The level of its own has reached the top level LV100, and the whole body is at least artifact level equipment, and it also has a suit effect, with additional special attributes and special effects. Not only that, but on Albedo's body, there is also a world-class item, the Abyss of Hell. It can be said that although the Thunder Dragon King Alfred sacrificed everything, his level exceeded the level cap of the Great Tomb of Nazarick itself. He made his level reach LV or even higher, but the equipment gap between the Thunder Dragon King Alfred and Albedo was simply too huge. One is just a full-body purple outfit, the other is at least an artifact-level equipment or suit, and there is a world-level item in his hand, which is simply invincible to the sky. Humph! I won't let you taint Lord Lin Yan. Looking at the dark golden beam of light that was close at hand, Albedo said with a serious face, and then raised the divine-level shield in her hand, blocking it in front of herself and Lin Yan. Boom! At the moment when the dark golden beam of light collided with the divine artifact-level shield in Albedo's hand, the world suddenly became quiet and silent. The wind stopped, the airflow stopped, the dust stopped everywhere, and even the invisible time stopped at this moment. But this silence, did not last long. Continuing in the next instant, the silent world suddenly became chaotic. The wind began to move, the airflow began to move, and whether it was the ubiquitous dust or the invisible time, it also recovered from the original Mo Yang. Then, one after another, the sound like glass shattering continued to emerge. I saw that at the spot where the dark golden beam of light collided with the shield in Albedo's hand, there were a few cracks of extremely thin but extremely attractive assistance. The darkness behind the crack, which is deeper than a black hole, is instinctively fearful. And all of this is just the beginning of everything. As the top existence in the fairy tale world, Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragon, sacrificed his life. Naturally, the attack could not end with such a simple touch. Endless rays of light are bursting, the sky-shattering sound resounds through the sky, and there are deep cracks that even the endless rays of light can't cover up. However, if someone's eyesight is good enough at this time, then they can find whether it is an endless burst of light or a space crack deeper than a black hole. They were all blocked by the divine weapon shield in Albedo's hand, unable to take a step beyond the thunderous pool. In the end, Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragon, sacrificed all his attacks to consume all his power, and with the last roar, it turned into a little dark golden light and dissipated in the air. The Thunder Dragon King Alfred, who had only one breath left, stared blankly at the scene in front of him. The Thunder Dragon King Alfred, who sacrificed everything, has completely lost the possibility of continuing to live. Even if Lin Yan does nothing, the Thunder Dragon King Alfred will fall directly within a few days. However, Lin Yan was not prepared to let Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragon, die too easily. Thinking of this, Lin Yan just smiled, snapped his fingers, and asked Albedo to project scenes from all over the world for Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragons, to take a good look. What will happen to his own family in the end? The continent of Ishgar, the Kingdom of Thunder Gear. The Kingdom of Regir was an insignificant country on the continent of Ishgar. After the Kingdom of Dragonov began to expand, it was very close to the border of the Kingdom of Dragonov today. He has even begun to think about how to integrate into the Kingdom of Dragonov perfectly. After all, it is easy to enjoy the shade with the back of a big tree, and the Kingdom of Legir is not willing to continue to live this precarious life. However, at this time, the Kingdom of Legir, which was usually a warm kingdom, was indeed burning with flames, and the royal city of Legir had been destroyed. The human wailing of agony spread almost all over the city. In this regard, the dragons who caused all this still have no intention of stopping, and they enjoy it. The giant dragon, which had been blue all the time, spit out blue energy beams from its mouth, and after smashing the city wall, it was laughing here. Ha ha ha, it's really easy. Yes, it's really boring. This war is too simple. If I had known, I would go to the great showdown with Lord Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragons. It would definitely be interesting there. All the dragons present showed distorted and excited smiles on their faces. They are very much enjoying this feeling now. Chapter 55. Suddenly, the dragon's face with stronger perception ability changed slightly among these giant dragons. It felt a very unpleasant smell, or taste. What's wrong with you? Suddenly his face became so ugly. Next to it, a weak dragon with no special perception ability looked at the dragon with strong perception ability a little strangely. I don't know why, but it was fine just now, but suddenly his face became so ugly. Do not know. An aura that makes me feel uneasy and disgusted is rapidly approaching us. The dragon with strong perception ability groaned. To be honest, this feeling is something it has never felt before. As time passed, the other dragons gradually felt this unpleasant aura, and all the dragons stopped their movements and looked towards the south. This is the direction they perceive. And in the kingdom of Lagear, those survivors who have been out of 10 naturally do not have the perception ability of the dragon family. But they found that the dragons stopped their movements and looked towards the south. They raised their heads involuntarily, and followed the direction of the dragons and looked towards the sky in the south. Meteor. Ordinary people in the kingdom of Lagear just saw a golden light and shadow streak across the void. They didn't give them any time to react at all. When they reacted, they would have crossed the sky and didn't know where they were going. After seeing the golden meteor disappear, the ordinary people of Lagear Kingdom were ready to return to their fearful minds, but they found that the dragon clan who had been wreaking havoc before did not move for a long time. It was not until this time that they discovered that all the dragons had a huge blood hole on their chests, and all the dragons had no time to react and were killed. Killed by that fleeting golden meteor. And scenes like this are happening all over the world. The giant dragon that is making a killing will be instantly bombarded by golden light and shadow, and then rush to the next location. The speed of the golden light and shadow is too fast. When the dragon clan discovered and reacted, they had been directly killed by the golden light and shadow, at most the king of the dragon clan, a world that could barely react a little. What? The Earth Dragon King watched a golden light and shadow fly towards his so-called position. Whoosh! The Earth Dragon King just reluctantly turned his body slightly to the side, the golden light and shadow instantly tore the Earth Dragon King's right arm, and the huge arm slammed on the ground, making a loud noise, and a rain of blood poured out of the sky. Kindness. When the golden light and shadow saw that the Earth Dragon King actually made an evasive action, he let out a sigh. Instead of continuing to fly, he randomly stopped on the roof of a house and frowned and glanced at the Earth Dragon King. When the golden light and shadow stopped, all the people around could clearly see the specific appearance of the golden light and shadow. It was a man wearing golden armor and long golden hair. The only thing that made people feel a little strange was that this man with golden hair and golden armor was closing his eyes tightly. This is one of Lin Yan's zodiac signs. Said to be the man closest to God, Virgo Gold Saint, Shaka. You can actually avoid my attack. You seem to be much stronger than the other dragons. Shaka closed his eyes, looking in the direction of the Earth Dragon King and said lightly, I can see very clearly that your life is full of sins. The depth of your sins, even I am a little shocked. Who are you? The Earth Dragon King looked vigilantly at the human man in golden armor in front of him. It never thought that, as the king of the dragon race, one day, his arm would be torn apart so easily by a human ant. Even, if not avoided in time just now. Just thinking about it like this, the Earth Dragon King felt a little cold sweat on his body. I am a saint in the sanctuary. Standing in the golden 12th house of the 88 constellations. Shaka looked at the Earth Dragon King and said plainly, next, I will use the flames of hell to purify your sinful soul, and it will not extinguish itself until your soul is completely burned out. With the fall of Shaka's voice, a golden flame suddenly burned on Shaka's fingertips. This is the flame of hell in Shaka's mouth, which can directly affect the soul's destruction flame. After summoning the flames of hell, Shaka threw it directly in the direction of the Earth Dragon King. Stop joking here. It's obviously just an ant-like race, how dare you talk to me in such a tone? After looking at Shaka's indifferent expression, who didn't take himself seriously from the beginning, the expression of the dragon of the earth became a little distorted, and roared, today. What? Chapter 56. Before the Earth Dragon King could finish his words, the golden flame just floated onto the Earth Dragon at an unknown time, and instantly blazed up, completely wrapping the Earth Dragon inside. However, the golden flame did not burn for too long. That is to say, in about 2 or 3 seconds, the soul of the Earth Dragon King was completely burned out, and the golden flame on the Earth Dragon King was extinguished because there was no fuel. Boom! The body of the Earth Dragon King fell weakly to the ground, making a dull sound. I hope your body can give this land enough feedback. Shaka looked at the soulless Earth Dragon King and said lightly, that is, once again turned into a golden light and shadow, and rushed towards the next area. And the survivors of Lagear Kingdom never thought that they would see such a scene. Above the sky, the giant dragons who had defeated their country's mages like toys fell down like raindrops one after another, and there was no sound at all. Scenes like this are happening all over the world. Everyone in the world looked at the magnificent scene that had never been seen in 100,000 years with a bewildered expression on their faces. Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragon, looked at the projected picture, a little hysterical. There is no way, the performance of the Golden Saints of the Zodiac is too desperate. Each of the Golden Saints of the Zodiac can have a speed far beyond the limit. Even the King of Dragons. In the original book, it can fly over a planet in less than a minute, with dozens of times the speed of sound, and even with special attributes, such as Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragons, has hundreds of times the speed of sound. It is only a little bit of resistance in front of the Golden Saint. This level of resistance is probably the level that makes the Golden Saints a little troublesome and needs to stop and move their hands a little more seriously. Even if there is a Dragon King who is more careless, the Golden Saints don't need to stop, they can instantly kill the King of the Dragon family. How is this possible? How can there be so many terrifying existences? You, who are you? The Thunder Dragon King Alfred looked at Lin Yan sternly. Even though things had already happened to him, in front of his eyes, Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragons, still had a trance-like feeling. Everything in front of me is so unreal. Obviously, since ancient times, the dragon race should be the strongest race standing above the sky and at the top of the world. The dragon family was born with a physique and talent that other races can't match. It can be said that from the very beginning, the dragon family was destined to be the darling of the world. However, what happened today changed everything. Looking at the same clan in the projection, who kept falling from the sky like garbage like raindrops, Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragon, really felt that his three views had completely collapsed. Once upon a time, the darling of the world, the dragons who were born with the power that other races can't get in their entire lives, will now fall from the sky like garbage? Kindness. That's pretty much what it feels like. Just die with confusion. Lin Yan looked at Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragon's collapsed face, and nodded with great satisfaction, and then just pressed it casually, using the super magic limit gravity to crush Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragon. Slag. The King of Thunder Dragons, who is now on the verge of death, is not as good as an ordinary giant dragon. From the beginning to the end, all Lin Yan wanted was to let the Thunder Dragon King Alfred die with a broken mind. It was too cheap to kill the Thunder Dragon King Alfred directly. There is no such thing as answering the confusion in Alfred, the King of Thunder Dragons. With the end of the Thunder Dragon King Alfred, the strongest symbol of the dragon family, the era of the dragon family has come to a complete conclusion. There is no so-called Dragon King festival. The arrival of Lin Yan directly made all the dragon tribes feel the same enemy. Whether it is the dove or hawk dragons, they stand on a unified front. As long as the dragons dare to resist, they will all be mercilessly eliminated by Lin Yan. Even the dove dragons are the same. In the end, within 3 months, the dragons completely disappeared. However, the disappearance of the dragon clan does not mean the extinction of the clan. Although the era of the dragon clan was cut off in advance due to the arrival of Lin Yan, many dove dragon clans of the dragon clan survived. After feeling that the general situation was difficult to change, under the leadership of Ignir, the King of Fire Dragons, he found a good place to retreat to, which could be called a paradise. At this time, the number of dragons has changed from more than 10,000 at the beginning to more than 1,000 today. With the fertility rate of the dragon clan, it would take at least tens of thousands of years for the dragon clan to return to the original 5-digit scale, and it would take 100,000 years if they were unlucky. Under the leadership of Lin Yan, the era of human beings, the era of magic that belongs to human beings, has begun. P.S. The plot of 400 years ago is coming to an end, and it will be on the shelves in about 10 chapters, so I beg to subscribe at that time. Chapter 57. With the end of the Dragon Age, Lin Yan's reputation also began to soar. Of course, the skyrocketing is just like that. Because of the dragon race, the overall number of humans on the side has not increased much, plus the previous dragon race attacked humans in an all-round way. Therefore, after Lin Yan brought an end to the era of the dragon race, the number of human beings in the entire world is less than 1 billion, and the increase in prestige is actually limited. It looks like it has risen by more than 3 billion yuan. Compared with the population of nearly 1 billion in the entire continent, it is slightly less, but Lin Yan is not the main C position, and no one has seen Lin Yan kill Qianlong and Thunder Dragon King Alfred instantly. Everyone's deepest impression of Lin Yan is probably that Lin Yan has a marriage contract with Anna and Irene, the princesses of the two strongest kingdoms in the world, Heartfilia Kingdom and Dragonov Kingdom. Lin Yan didn't really care about this. Without an opponent, Lin Yan became even more salty. After all, Lin Yan really had a hard time thinking about what existence in the fairy tale world could defeat the Golden Zodiac. Not to mention the Golden Zodiac. Even the Silver Saint Seiya and the Bronze Saint Seiya have combat power at the speed of sound. Bronze Saints are generally able to throw sonic punches, and Silver Saints can even punch several times the speed of sound. In this era of the Dragon Clan's retreat, Bronze Saints can already be said to be the top-notch powerhouses. Among the entire human race, there are only a handful of magicians who can rival the Silver Saints, such as the obsessive Nerubite clan patriarch and so on. With a wave of the hand, the land can be shattered, and the sea can be split. And this kind of Silver Saint Seiya still belongs to the low combat power. Whether it is a Bronze Saint or a Silver Saint, there are super-class powerhouses, and their combat power can even equal the Golden Saints of the Zodiac. The Bronze Saints are naturally the Bronze Five, and the Silver Saints also have Silver Saints who are not weaker than the Zodiac, such as Sifu's Silver Saint Arubio. Arubio, the Silver Saint Seiya of Sifu's, is the master of one of the Bronze Five little powers. He is a Silver Saint at any time, but his terrifying strength is definitely not weaker than the average Gold Saint. Since the Sorcerer Academy with the power system of the Great Tomb of Nazarick has been established in the Kingdom of Heartfilia, Lin Yan established the Academy of Saints in the Kingdom of Dragonov, which can train saints. Although if there is no holy clothing, at most it is a Saint Seiya candidate. But even a Saint Seiya candidate is very strong for the mages of the local world. At least it is almost equivalent to the B-rank wizard or the weaker A-rank wizard in the original story of fairy tale, which can be said to be very scary. Year X is the year of the end of the Dragon Age and the first year of the Great Magic Age of humanity. In December of the X year, Lin Yan held an unprecedented grand wedding with Anna and Irene. With this grand wedding, Lin Yan successfully gained nearly 2 billion reputation points again. It can be said that if Lin Yan wants to, he can already awaken Sirato Sayori. Of course, Lin Yan didn't favor one another over another, and it didn't take long for Lin Yan to be in the inner road of the Great Tomb of Nazarick, and also arranged a wedding for Albedo and Shaltir. Albedo and Shaltir did not know how moved it was. Well, the intelligence gathering officer was also very moved, crying in the audience, making Lin Yan extremely ashamed. After almost 2 months, Anna, Irene, Albedo and Shaltir let Lin Yan live a very good and happy life. It's just that Irene and Anna are okay, and Albedo and Shaltir are very strong. In order to be able to make yourself 100% happy, Lin Yan specially exchanged for himself the powerful physical qualities of a gold-level Saint Seiya. In this way, Lin Yan lived for 2 months in a place called the Great Tomb of Nazarick, which was actually a gentle township until Anna and Irene both had pregnancy reactions. Albedo and Shaltir had a special race and a very strong relationship, so the probability of pregnancy was always very low, even slightly lower than that of the dragon race. The same situation as Irene and Anna did not appear. However, Albedo and Shaltir really wished that they were the same rookies as Irene and Anna, so that they could successfully conceive Lin Yan's child. In this regard, Albedo and Shaltir did not know how envious they were for Anna and Irene. During the period when Anna and Irene were pregnant, she worked harder with Lin Yan, but it still didn't work. It has been a long process to get pregnant successfully. Chapter 58. How about it? Irene, do you feel any discomfort? In a manner in the city of King Dragonov. Lin Yan walked over to Irene, who was lying on the desk with a big belly and was writing something, and said with a smile, "They are all about to become mothers, so take good care of your body." Furthermore, the power system of the Great Tomb of Nazarick and the method of cultivating saints in the sanctuary already exist. You don't need to continue to study dragon slaying magic so much. With nothing to do during pregnancy, Irene refocuses her attention on a project that hasn't been officially implemented before, creating magic that can defeat dragons. These are very precious heritage of our humanity. I think it's very good to study it to increase our human heritage. Irene looked at Lin Yan, who came over and said with a smile, and everyone's suitable direction is different, there is always nothing wrong with one more choice. Although now with the Mage Academy founded by the Great Tomb of Nazarick and the Saint Seiya Academy founded by the Sanctuary, humans also have the possibility to compete with the dragons. But Irene feels that there is never too little to increase the human heritage. So after there was nothing at hand, Irene asked Lin Yan for a few magic crystals of the dragon family, and then began to study how to use the power of the dragon family to defeat the dragon family. It's just that the voice just fell, and Irene's cousin changed slightly, showing a painful expression. Seeing this, Lin Yan's face also straightened, and he quickly supported Irene. The child should be born. Calculate the time, it's almost 10 months. Lin Yan hurriedly cast a spell with calming effect on Irene, and then said with a smile, the child's name is Urza. Kindness. Listen to you. After hearing Lin Yan's words, Irene just nodded slightly and didn't say anything more. It didn't take much time to have a baby, and soon Irene gave birth to Urza. Like most babies, Urza looked ugly. Like a skinned mouse. However, Lin Yan believes that Urza, who inherits the blood of himself and Irene, will definitely become more elegant and peerless than the original. On the other hand, not long after Irene gave birth to Urza, Anna also gave birth to a girl, Lin Yan named Eluju. In the world of fairy tale, magic and vitality are closely linked. Therefore, Urza and Eluju, who inherited Lin Yan's bloodline, are born with a huge vitality. In the future, even if they just guide them casually, the weakest can have ordinary dragon things. If you practice hard, I am afraid that the Dragon King is definitely not the end of Urza and Eluju. Another thing that makes Lin Yan a little concerned is that there is a peerless genius in the Mage Academy, who has learned thousands of magic tricks in just 1 year. Even the 1st to 6th tier magic of the Great Tomb of Nazarick is fully mastered. The name of this peerless genius is Ziref Dragoneer. Because of Lin Yan's arrival, Ziref's parents did not die on the way to the Dragonov Kingdom, nor did Natsu die for any special reason. The current Ziref is a very normal Ziref. However, that is only now. Although the current Ziref has no obsession with researching resurrection magic, he is interested in time magic, space magic, and life magic as attribute magic. He has even begun to study magic that can travel through time. Unlike the Meridian school of magic that Ziref studied in the original book, the current Nazarick school of magic has provided great support for Ziref's research. Whether it is the Saint Seiya Academy or the Nazarick Magic Academy, there is a gold-level character guarding it. The Saint Seiya Academy is guarded by the Virgo Gold Saint Sagar, and the editor-in-chief of the Nazarick Academy of Magic is guarded by Aizen Saushuk, who already has a broken jade state. The so-called Angsel Ramel, the god who controls life and death, is not at all unreal. In this way, almost 2 years later, with the support of the Nazarick Academy of Magic, Ziref researched the Eclipse Gate in the successful original book. Moreover, it is an enhanced version of the Eclipse Gate that is better than the original Eclipse Gate. For example, the Eclipse Gate in the original book can only pass through to the time when the Eclipse Gate existed, but the Eclipse Gate researched by Ziref now does not have this shortcoming. There is also no need for a dedicated person to open the door in the future. As long as the user's own magic power or other power is strong enough, then he can force through time and space through his own power, which can be said to be quite perfect. There is no problem in the past or in the future. However, Ziref does not recommend going back to the past. If going back to the past is quite risky, under the butterfly effect, it may cause huge changes. For example, because of certain actions in the past, the future self disappears. Chapter 59. In a laboratory dedicated to Ziref at the Nazarick Academy of Magic, Lin Yan looked at the Eclipse Gate, which was very different from the original, and asked curiously, that is to say, is it better not to go back to the past? Yes, Lord Lin Yan. After my simulation calculation, even if you live to breathe in the past, it may be able to cause a lot of changes. After hearing Lin Yan's words, Ziref nodded earnestly and explained, also, in the past, because there was no Eclipse Gate, it would be difficult to come back again. Unless, build another Eclipse Gate. I see. That said, it's better to choose a time to go to the future. Then if you want to come back, use the future legendary time of the Eclipse Gate and come back. Yes, Lord Lin Yan. Of course, I actually have another theory, which is that the world is multifaceted. Maybe when we use the Eclipse Gate to travel through time, a new parallel world will form. Take our current time point as the origin, start to take root and sprout, and grow into different branches. If it is this rule, then many things don't need special attention, because once you travel to the past or the future, it will be a whole new world. It's just a little bit similar to our world. Ziref looked at Lin Yan and said with a smile, it's just that I personally recommend that you don't go through the past. The risk is too great, and it's really worth the loss. After hearing Ziref's words, Lin Yan nodded thoughtfully and started to think. Lin Yan doesn't really care about the past time, and it doesn't make much sense to go back to the past. Lin Yan just feels that the current era is really boring. In this era, there is no internet, no games, nothing, and it is really boring. After the main storyline in the original work began, almost all the modern facilities before Lin Yan traveled through can find corresponding things in the fairy tale world. Even things like computers have corresponding magic to replace them. It can be said that as long as Lin Yan gave a little guidance, wouldn't the whole family bucket of a certain news online game come out like this? First arrange a wave in the era of 400 years ago, let the people of this era work hard to develop magic technology or something, and then Lin Yan directly takes the large army to receive success after 400 years. Just thinking about it, Lin Yan felt a little excited. Are you ready to go to the future world? Irene, who had been standing beside Lin Yan holding Urza, asked curiously after hearing the conversation between Lin Yan and Ziref, isn't this era bad? Because she has never enjoyed the convenience of the information age, Irene has no way to understand the feeling of Lin Yan who has not touched the internet for several years. In fact, Lin Yan has been in the withdrawal reaction of quitting the net since he first crossed over. If it weren't for the beautiful girls around Lin Yan who surrounded Lin Yan one by one, Wenro Township distracted Lin Yan a lot, and Lin Yan couldn't take it anymore. Now Ziref has actually made an enhanced version of the Eclipse Gate, Lin Yan has to set a development policy, and then directly enjoy it in the future. I want to see the world of the future. After all, I think the world in the future will be very interesting. Lin Yan looked at Irene and Urza in Irene's arms and said with a smile, Urza, do you want to go to the future world? Dad. Where is Dad? After hearing Lin Yan's words, Urza said with some stumbling, Urza will go wherever. Now that Urza can talk, she usually likes to stick with Lin Yan and Irene, and Luju, who is also in Anna's arms next to her, is also very sticky to Lin Yan. And the appearance has also become pink and jade, very cute and beautiful, no longer like a newborn, like a skinned mouse. Me too. I'm like Urza. Luju, who was in Anna's arms next to her, also scrambled and said, where does Dad go? So do I. I'm going there too. Looking at their daughter in their arms, Irene and Anna looked at each other helplessly. The girl just kisses her father and wants to stick to Lin Yan's side all day long, but since Lin Yan has made her own decision, Irene and Anna will not say anything more. As their baby girl said, where Lin Yan is, they are there. After the era of the Dragon Clan came to an end, their hearts were gone, and the thriving country no longer needed them. Compared with managing the country, they enjoyed the warm daily life with Lin Yan and their daughter. The two kingdoms of Heartfilia and Dragonov were actually managed by two intellectuals, Demiurge and Saushik Eisen. Chapter 60. The next thing will naturally become simpler. In order to ensure that his plan can be implemented as much as possible, Lin Yan began to get busy, and the kingdom of Heartfilia and kingdom of Dragonov also began to prepare for the next thing. Anyway, the goal is to have only one, to make the magic era 400 years later more developed than the magic era in the original book. The magic network must be thoroughly popularized. Online games, and animation, TV dramas, movies, etc. all have to rise. There are no online games, no online novels, and no world of movies, anime, and TV dramas. Lin Yan is really fed up. Now that the Eclipse Gate has been researched, Lin Yan doesn't want to wait any longer. Even, in order to prevent the dragons from doing things after they left this timeline and hindering their plans, Lin Yan also took all the members to intimidate them. After feeling foolproof, Lin Yan nodded in satisfaction. Without any hesitation, he changed all the forces to card status, and directly took Irene, Anna, Urza, and Luju to open the door of the solar eclipse. Zerf. Would you like to take your family with me to the future? Looking at the golden light in the eclipse gate, Lin Yan turned to look at Ziref who was standing smiling and asked. Lin Yan is still very satisfied with Ziref, he is indeed a very good guy, so Lin Yan is going to take Ziref with him, maybe it will be useful in the future. Lord Lin Yan, I don't care. If everyone goes to the future, then in this era, no one will fulfill your instructions, Master Lin Yan, and study magic. Ziref's ideological awareness is still quite high. After hearing Lin Yan's invitation, he shook his head slightly and declined Lin Yan's invitation. Although the future world is very desirable, compared with the illusory future, Ziref cherishes the present world more. Moreover, as Ziref himself said just now, if everyone wants to save trouble and go to the future world, then what is the future without the present? From the very beginning, the existence of the Eclipse Gate was merely an interest of Ziref. Ziref will never disclose the existence of the Eclipse Gate, and even if there is a day when the Eclipse Gate is used, it will serve a very small number of people. Such as the current Lin Yan, such as the children in the original book. As long as it is not absolutely necessary, Ziref will never let people use the Eclipse Gate. Of course, the Ziref in the original book doesn't care about anything, and doesn't care about the Eclipse Gate at all. Is that so? If you don't want to go, forget it. I'm pretty relieved if you help me take care of it. Lin Yan was a little stunned after hearing Ziref's answer, and then came back to his senses and smiled. If it was Ziref, he would definitely not go to the future world hastily. Compared with a layman like himself, Ziref is obviously more open-minded, or sees through the world. However, Ziref, there is one thing you need to be aware of. Never try graduate and death magic, such as the magic of creating or resurrecting life. Lin Yan looked at Ziref and said with a serious face, although I have only guessed until now, you still need to pay attention. Every god has his own authority. The only god I know so far, the god of life and death, Angsil Ramel, is a god who absolutely does not allow mortals to violate his authority. Remember, when Ziref was studying the Eclipse Gate, Lin Yan had been keeping more than 2 golden saints staring at Ziref, and one of them was the Gemini golden saint, Saga, who was known as the strongest. However, until Ziref successfully researched the Eclipse Gate, there was no special movement, and then considering the divine authority of the god Angsil Ramel in the original book, the god of life and death. Therefore, Lin Yan judged that Ziref should be cursed by the god of life and death Angsil Ramel when he was studying how to resurrect his younger brother Natsu. Although many things that should have happened did not happen because of his arrival, Ziref has a happy family, his parents are still alive, and his younger brother Natsu is still alive. Thinking about it, it should be magic that won't kill graduate students and death, but Lin Yan felt that it was necessary to warn Ziref. Otherwise, isn't the current Eclipse Gate created by Ziref out of interest? A god who controls life and death. I see, Lord Lin Yan, I will pay attention. After hearing Lin Yan's words, Ziref's brows furrowed slightly. Lin Yan was actually not worried at all. Ziref actually had this idea to study the magic of life and death. He originally planned to study it after he finished studying space magic. After hearing what Lin Yan said, he quickly dismissed the dangerous thoughts in his heart.